Let's see, what are we going to talk about today? Well, obviously, we're going to cover the AMA from last week. News to cover, CWP. I hope you've got some stuff that you've been sending me some articles. Really appreciate it. I haven't been able to really kind of review them all that close, but I did see a couple that were pretty interesting about NVIDIA. I thought that was kind of cool. And yeah, so we'll get into that. Scams, interesting scam we'll cover today. We also have a special guest joining us today from um, the co-founder of ChainArQ, and we'll wait for him to join in here in just a little bit. In the meantime, who do we got here? Drakefist, CWP, Habibi, EverGrow, Robust, EGC, Mike Hero, Hersan, of course, and Insignificant Cog. Good to see you too. Who else we got here? Dawn Okko, a couple new faces. Roel, my apologies if I mispronounce that. Yang Lem, and an alien, and DJ. Oh, sorry, DJ. My apologies if I mispronounced that. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for being here as always. Haven't heard from Cody or Rocket if they're going to be in the house today. Cross your fingers. You never know. So yeah, I'm going to give you CWP. I'm going to invite you to speak. Give it just a minute to connect. I don't know if you're able to speak, but you're more than welcome to. How you doing, CWP?
I'm doing great, thanks. Outside of I almost missed the space, I got really tired, hadn't slept last night much, lay down for a nap, and slept through my alarm,
Oh
and
yeah.
just woke up a few minutes ago.
So well, you're having a good sleep when, right?
Exactly, I did, and even had some really nice dreams about being wealthy from EverGrow.
That's a good dream. I love that. Yeah, that's a nice way to wake up. I wonder if when we have those times, coming in the future where we start to see the really tokens take off, the grow and ever grow and all that stuff. I wonder if there'll ever be a point where you wake up in the morning and you're like, man, I have a lot more money today than I did like last year or the year before that, when I first bought my tokens or first heard about Evergrow. I wonder if there's ever going to be those people that have that feeling that wake up rich, you know what I mean? You remember that bug a few years ago when you looked at your trust wallet and you had something like a couple $1 billion from that kind of weird thing that with Evergrow, and I think it was CMC. Do you remember that?
I remember that it happened, but I missed the excitement of opening my trust wallet and seeing
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it, I was like, wow. And then I was like, okay, I just did a connect to a pancake swap just to see what the swap would be, right? And then of course the value had not changed at all. So I was like, okay, I knew something was wrong with the reporting. But some people apparently sold, thought that they were billionaires. And it was kind of funny that that happened. Of course, not funny because CMC messed up on the price again, but still interesting enough.
I think a lot of people will wake up and have that feeling one of these
Yeah,
days soon.
exactly.
And sadly, a whole bunch more are going to wake up and look at the price of that and face palm and moan and cry
Hmm.
and whine because they sold.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I think if Rocket did a post this, today, he said that something like, when the next bull market hits, it's going to be a little crazy. And if you're not in it now, then basically you've missed your opportunity, right? Because a lot of people are really staying out of the market right now because they just think that, crypto sucks. And unfortunately, right now, when those projects, not just Evergrow, those other projects, they're just kind of got their head down, they're building, they're taking advantage of the time right now where it isn't crazy and they can build products. And then when you do enter a bull market, that's when you launch full blast, you go in and then things look great, right? Great for your project. I mean, even if you release before the bull hits, you're just gonna really kind of like be in that better position when it does hit. So I think so.
There are so many of the influencers and talking heads and the people predicting the price of coins that it's really hard to know who um, is authentic and who isn't. But I do listen to those and I try to ferret out which are the possibilities. And the most interesting thing that of late that I've heard a couple of influencers talking about, or a technical analysis, maybe I should say more than influencers, is the cycle of Bitcoin and how long it is, what happens during that cycle, the four sections of the cycle um, that have all in the past been booms. And we are a little bit behind that now because the halving hasn't happened yet. And that is one of the signs of the beginning of the bull run, but that happens before the halving. So, and from the history, and we all know that history doesn't predict the future 100%, but it's a good indication, and that Bitcoin will that this bull run, not just Bitcoin, but all the altcoins are just going to explode, um, and that is because some of the fear and the panic and the FUD will be over. Maybe the SEC will finally do something of value, um, and as other governments adopt and as the institutional investors adopt, um, Bitcoin itself is going to become, a much more valuable commodity, and that is going to bring all of the rest of us along. Even though EverGrow uh, doesn't follow Bitcoin. It does maybe BNB a little bit, but it doesn't Bitcoin. So if this is my estimation or my idea, if Bitcoin and the other altcoins explode, um, then EverGrow should be an A bomb.
Did you, out of curiosity, did you think that, I mean, it's hard to look in the past and say, but knowing what you know now, do you think the price all-time high of EverGrow was a realistic all-time high? What was it, 5033-ish, right around there? Doing the math on it based on market cap and all that stuff, I know you can't really, evaluate the value of EverGrow at that time because it was really kind of a hype thing at the time. Um, but people were making a lot of money too. But do you feel that all-time high price is realistic, or do you think we should be a lot higher, or do you think it'll be potentially lower in the next bull market?
You're talking about the next time around, not the
Yes.
whether it was realistic the last
Well,
time around.
well, a
And
little bit of
it
both actually. A little
okay,
bit of
well, it
both.
wasn't realistic the last time because it was based on hype. But nevertheless, hype is realistic at the time it's being hyped. Um, so yeah, it was realistic. The excitement that was behind that, which I missed out on most of, um, was palpable. Um, I mean, it spread like a wildfire, and so people jumped on that bandwagon and rode it. Um, and yeah, so I think that was realistic. Do I think the future all-time high is going to be a realistic number that's attainable? Much more than that. I think we'll reach that all-time high. I don't want to make a time prediction, but I think it'll be pretty rapid as these utilities drop and as we gain market share and little things like open seas implosion is just going to help that. So I think we will exceed the all-time high and probably over what 2 to 5. I really hate the dating thing game, but 2 to 5 years will be a massive token. And I believe that uh, I don't know if it was Sam that said it, that his desire was to be in the top 25 coins. Um, I think we might have a chance to make even the top 10. A chance.
You you mentioned that an altcoin being in the top 10. That's quite a task, right? And that's quite, that says something. If you can
Yes.
even make the top like 50, that's a pretty incredible thing to achieve. Because most times you see in the top 10, it's the big three, like the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, then you've got, the big well-known projects and then stable coins. Of course, stable coins, there's a bunch of them up there too. But yeah, if we can even get close to that, that's pretty significant. I'd say top 100 would be an enormous success. But if we can do top 50 or like you said, top 25, that would be pretty remarkable. It wouldn't surprise me, Sam's pretty hungry, you know what I mean, and determined. It wouldn't surprise me if, that is the long-term goal. Just keep building until we eventually get there. But I don't know. I'll just be happy to beat the top 100. I mean, it's quite a, like I said, quite a feat to just do that. Go ahead, Moon, jump in.
Hey Steve, hey CWP, hey everybody. How you doing?
Doing all right. How about you, man?
I'm all right. Uh, just been listening to the conversation.
Yeah.
Why is my hand not going down?
And for me, I see it disappeared. So
Oh, it just disappeared. Okay.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I agree with what CWP has said. I also agree with what Sam has said many times about wanting to make EverGrow a top 25. I think that's a very, very achievable. Especially with our roadmap and going forward, especially in the next couple of years. I think top 25 is very achievable. Top 10, uh, I mean, it could happen. It would be extremely difficult, but honestly, I don't think we need to be top 10. Evergrow doesn't need to be top 10 for us to all freaking become millionaires. I mean, when you really look at it, you don't even need it to go that far. But as far as top 25, I think that could be very achievable. However, Steve, you asked CWP earlier about how realistic it was for Evergrow's price back in 2021. And I agree with CWP's answer. And, hype might be hype, but that's still real to a degree. That's why the price went to the insanities that it did. But it really depends on how you define realistic. If you ask me, no, it wasn't realistic. If it was realistic, it wouldn't have come down. Uh, all it was, like CWP said, was a price solely and 110% built on hype and nothing else. Like every other project at the time. I'm not saying EverGrow was the only one. Not saying it was the only one, but I'm just analyzing the facts. So 2 years later, if you compare the EverGrow, the project, the community, and the company back in 2021 when the crazy hype was going, and you compare that EverGrow to today's EverGrow, you can see there is no comparison. EverGrow is a million times better than it was as a company, as a community, as its reach, everything. And yet, the price doesn't reflect that. So that really goes to show the power of hype alone. With absolutely, literally nothing else to back it up, and yet it reached the heights that it did, while being worse in everything by comparison to today.
yeah,
Moon,
very,
I have a
very well said.
question for you. Um, when you say hype, what does hype mean to you? To me, hype means BS. Dogecoin was hyped. Shiba Inu was hyped. Um, Hype means, in general, lies. People pumping up some vaporware. Um, but when Evergrow came out, it had massive promise, and I think that's what built the price.
Yeah, it definitely broke ground. It definitely became the first ever token with rewards. So of course that had a lot going for it. That also fueled a lot of the hype. I wouldn't necessarily class hype, like you said, CWP, like all bull crap. I would say, personally, I'd classify hype as a believable positive idea. So not only a positive idea like we're going to make a lot of money, but a believable one. Because you can have hype, but if it's not believable, it doesn't build up. But for some reason, true hype has some sort of belief behind it that tends to let people invest without thinking twice. That's the power of hype per se.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hype around Evergrow was pretty spectacular. There were other projects that really had enormous hype, and some of them were complete rugs. And they were kind of this promise of something like Evergrow, only they just never had a plan to deliver. You know what I mean? And so those are the ones that just kind of fall. And among the hundreds, if not thousands, of rugs out there that that just come and go. And I think that's why the psychology of crypto, especially DeFi, is kind of this kind of get in first, get out first, mentality. Like we got to make money. like quick and fast. And some people are just don't care about the fundamentals of the project. They just want to get paid, right? And so I think projects like EverGrow are kind of on a different level, and I don't mean that like above or anything like that. I'm just talking about the there is a value there in the project. There is a vision going forward, right? And I don't think a lot of people really don't buy into that just yet. I mean, we do obviously, but once we demonstrate that we're bringing value to the project, once we demonstrate we have a utility, multiple utilities, two, three, four, more plus more, then it's like, okay, these guys are the real deal. And then with Sam being adamant about being transparent, that is unheard of in crypto. Yeah, there are some crypto projects that do tell you how much they make and all that stuff, but in DeFi, that's kind of a whole different animal, you know what I mean? So I'm super excited just to see it, grow and develop and mature, and because we're so early. Person, I'll bring you up. So sorry to keep you waiting there. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Okay.
great. How you doing today?
Good. Well, 3 points. I hope I remember them in order. And I'm going from the back. Um, Something I learned at the beginning about, because you guys are talking about realistic or not. I think it was realistic because uh, realistic versus overvalued or undervalued. That's what I learned, in stocks. When something is very like that hyped, but there's no product or utility to sustain it, then it's overvalued. And at the beginning, anything that has the high market cap with no product, then it's overvalued. Now, once EverGrow or any coin, any project has utility and then the price doesn't reflect that, then it's undervalued. Hopefully that won't happen with, EverGrow. That's the first one. The second one, uh, something that CPW was saying about the bull markets. I started researching how long does it last every bull market, because that will give us an idea when to sell. Because sometimes people say, oh, I should have sold, and you don't know when. Nobody knows. But that's why I started like, let me get into this to see when I should sell, how long does it last? Some of them, well, I'm not sure yet, but it's like 3, 4 months, depending. Now, the stock market and the crypto market, since it's so new, it's different. That's the second one. The third point, when you guys were saying that if you wake up and with all that money, at the beginning, that's when everything started for me in the stock market. I invested in a almost penny stock. It was under $2. I bought everything I had, and I remember that day we were in Miami, and I was checking every like every 5 minutes, and then it was going down in value, and I was so nervous, and I went to sleep. Man, when I woke up like 5 o'clock in the morning, it was almost $4. I couldn't sleep. I called my brother and I told him everything. I just was waiting for the market 9:30 to open so I can sell everything. But yeah, I made good money. So I know that feeling like waking up instead of seeing the price slowly going up. It's like boom, from from like a switch, off and on. I had that feeling and I'm ready for that feeling again.
Thanks for sharing that story. I mean, that's so cool. I kind of sometimes I think back in the past, and I've thought to myself, if I ever like, really make it in crypto, I'm gonna probably write a note next to my bed so that when I wake up and turn over, it's gonna say, "Yes, you're rich," and then I can remember, oh yeah, you know what I mean? So just in case I wake up in the middle of the night or something, I'd be like, "Did this really happen?" Yes, it did happen. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be a nice feeling. So I wanted to mention real quick before I go and bring our co-host up here. Where is it? And where is that post there? I saw we were talking about the bug there with CMC, and who posted that? Because I don't see it now. That's weird. But their portfolio was worth $45 trillion. That's what people were seeing when the CMC bug happened with EverGrow, and so they literally thought they had like trillions of dollars in value. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine thinking you had that?
It doesn't
It
even
doesn't.
make sense.
No, you can't even like that. There's not enough money in the world,
It's
right?
not right. It's like, oh, you now hold more money than the entire world economy. Congratulations.
Exactly. 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 So what I'm going to do is CK Ghost has been so patient. Thank you so much. I'll bring you up, and then we'll go ahead and start with our co-host today, and with ChainArQ. So CK, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up, man? I don't think we've ever spoken on a call before, but
Yeah,
Rocket
welcome.
has yeah, nice to hear your voice finally. Rocket has been my friend for too long. way, way, way too long in this space. And yeah, so me and him kept connected, and we've talked for a very long time. And your community, which we were looking for, just with the ChainArQ, tying that back in, was a more mature community that understands how all of this works, with the dexes and the LPs and chains and stuff. So like, it was a match made in heaven, and it was never a like incentive based thing. I'll say I did buy some EverGrow and LCR because Rocket forced me to, but but I'll let Shak explain more. But what's up, man? How you doing? And nice to meet you finally.
You too. Thanks for being here today. So just so I understand, so you work with Shak, are you co-founder as well, or?
I'm just so I just lead marketing, head of marketing.
I gotcha.
He's dev, he's founder. So yeah.
All right. Well, it's really nice to meet you, and well, you know how to pick friends because Rocket is one of the best you can find. So there you go.
Real recognize real. I always
Yeah,
say it.
yeah,
So
exactly. Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And Don, you came up a little bit ago and then you dropped off, so I'll give you the opportunity to speak here before we go ahead and talk to Shak. So welcome. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks for the opportunity to speak. I just had to drop off because it went silent on me and Twitter did its usual bug thingy. So now I'm just here to show support for the rest of the team because I'm also involved with ChainArQ.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started in the space. And so yeah, welcome everyone to space number 53. You know, we talk about EverGrow, LunaSky NFT Marketplace, Lucro, Atlas Wallet, and Lucro Games. So great to have you all here today. It is such a pleasure to be with the best community in crypto, the EGC fam, and I mean that 100% from the bottom of my heart. So we have a lot to cover today. We'll cover news, crypto news, some scams, and we'll do a recap of Sunday's AMA, as well as we'll cover some updates on EGC utilities. But first, we want to speak to our co-host today, a recent project to join LunaSky, that is ChainArQ, please, and one of its co-founders. So please, everyone, welcome Shak with ChainArQ. Shak, welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, man. Can you guys hear me, first of all?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Hey, man, thank you for having me. I'm impressed by the quality of this this space, this AMA. This is the first time we speak on voice. I was told that you're a community member of EverGrow and that you host spaces every week. That is amazing. That's some real dedication to the project, man.
What can I say? I love EverGrow. I love the
Yeah,
team,
but
the great people.
there's a bunch of people listening to you, and you've probably been doing this for a while now. This is very impressive, and I'm not too surprised. I do like projects that build stuff, as opposed to just financial gymnastics type of projects where it's just a meme coin with rebase or whatever. There's software behind this. It's a more serious quality type of project, and clearly it's attracted the right people. I wish I had somebody like you in our community. That would be amazing.
That's really kind of you to say. Thank you so much. Well, we're so glad that you chose to be with LunaSky NFT project, and it just means this community is really just, you'll find if you haven't hung around with us before, you'll find we are, I truly believe, that one of the best communities in crypto. So I look forward to personally, I understand you're gonna have some NFTs listed on LunaSky, and I look forward to posting those on
Yes.
Instagram, because that's part of my gig too, is I help out on Instagram with Cody and Rocket, and we post to people's content on Instagram, try to get the word out and share the amazing creations of our LunaSky artists. So thank you.
That is very kind. Again, CK is the man that's making all this happen. He connected me with Rocket, and you guys have a real gentleman helming the marketplace for you guys. Very nice guy. We've spoken for hours at this point, and he's a good guy. And that's what you want, right? That's what you want in your leadership.
Absolutely.
Good people who work hard, and they'll do their best to make what they promised happen, right? You can't ask more than that.
Yeah, it's kind of I find it almost what's the word I'm looking for? When things come together and
Yes.
it almost seems like destiny. It's kind of weird because it starts from the top, right? You got a guy like Sam. Well, even before Sam, right? The original founders of EverGrow, like I'd really love to get in their head and just find out what happened to you come up with this concept, and to be like the number one BUSD reward token. It's kind of a little bit of magic, you know what I mean? And then for Sam to come in to see it, and it's like, wait a second, this is something really special here. And then you got all these people who started at the beginning, right? Like Rocket and Cody and Drake Fist and all these guys that started right like at the very beginning. There's names I can't even, they were here, before me. And they're all good people. That's the thing. They're all good people, and they all want to support the community. They all want to support the project. And not only that, but they've got, like, in terms of morals, they're just like best of the best, man. Just they want to help. They're coming at it like from their heart and their head, and I just, like I said, it's kind of serendipitous or something. I don't know how to describe it otherwise.
It is rare to have such a combination. I speak by virtue of what we do. I speak to a lot of project leads, project founders, devs that lead a project by themselves. They don't have a business guy. There's not that many good people out there making projects, right? And there's even fewer building stuff that would benefit the whole space. Because that's really what we all want, right? We all got in here, sure, to get rich, but also to move away from the traditional banking system. And it's the builders that will make this a success, this effort, this global effort to create a financial system that is outside the control of the bankers and the governments. This is the space where it can be done. And yeah, you need people building. You need people building with good intentions.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, we're kind of under the shadow of all the rugs and all the scams that are out there. It's hard to be taken seriously in crypto when you
Yes.
hear about all these scams every single day. The news loves to cover this stuff because, well, I mean, you're talking about millions of dollars, right? Millions and billions. So obviously that has an effect, and and it gets people's attention on stuff, but rarely do they cover the innovation, the things that are people truly building something innovative and new and definitely needed in the market. That's
for
what we should be
sure.
covering more.
Have you ever tried telling somebody who knows nothing about crypto that you are in crypto? They always put on that face like, oh, isn't crypto a scam? And then you have to explain, no, there are scammers, but it's like Web2 in the early days. Full of scammers, full of, click here and win $1 million, or
I know. It's kind of like a relative, that you kind of want to
Yes.
apologize for.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like, they're really a good person. No, really they are.
Just give them a chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so
I'm very
funny.
excited about this. I can't wait for LunaSky to be launched. I keep trying to squeeze it out of Rocket. He won't budge.
Yeah, you got to start with Paul. You got to start with Paul. Then you can let Paul talk. Just let him keep talking, and then
Don't give him ideas, Steve. Don't give him ideas.
There you go.
Yeah, I heard the last AMA that they did, and reading between the lines, I'm really hopeful that it's going to be very soon. It seems like that's where they're headed. So, exciting times, exciting time. Gives us the chance to beef up our software so that when the mint goes live, we can show off the software in all of its glory, right? So it's okay for us to.
Well, this is awesome timing, because let's go ahead and segue into your business. What is ChainArQ? So if you can go into that a little bit in case people aren't familiar with it.
So we have 75 people listening now, right? The moment I start getting technical, the number will probably drop. So I'm just going to start off by simply saying why we made ChainArQ, right? I was tired of missing out on opportunities that were happening on other chains when, during the bull run, you've got your money in BNB chain, you hear about something hot happening in Polygon. Oh no, I don't have money there. What am I going to do? I had to sell what I had on PancakeSwap. I then had to move my stable from one chain to another on multi-chain. Then I had to go to QuickSwap and buy into whatever. And by the time that would happen, the token was already pumped and I've missed the boat. So that's why we're making what we made. And what it is this is a cross-chain aggregator, right? So what that means is we've set up communication between different chains, and we enable people to swap any token pair on whatever chain. Right? It's that simple. We already enabled EverGrow's token on our swap. So, whether you want to buy it from some other chain or not, you can do so on our swap. The most significant thing about this, though, is that we collect data from every DEX. Our plans are to onboard every bridge that there is and every aggregator. We're well on our way of doing that. So what ends up happening is if you want to buy a token on the same chain, more often than not, you'll get a better price going through our swap than if you were to go directly to the DEX where the liquidity pool is. And that's just one of the things that our swap can do. But to simplify things, we're a cross-chain project, software first. We don't have a token. We want to provide a completely unbiased service. So we don't prioritize any liquidity pool or any DEX. The best value for the user is what we're going for.
So I told my wife actually a little bit about your project, and she told me, she goes, it sounds like a price line of the price line of cross-chain swaps. Would you say that's accurate?
That sounds like an American reference, which I don't get, unfortunately. Let me quickly Google price line.
Yeah, there you go. So price line is, definitely American. So if you want to find a cheap flight, and what they do is they go out and they look at all the different airlines out there where you're going, and they find you the best rate. Hotels, flights, all that stuff.
Exactly. That is precisely what it is.
And that's why I married my wife, because she's a smart girl.
Yeah, yes.
I think that's pretty cool because that's what crypto needs. What you are doing is what crypto needs, and it needs more of it, and it needs more of it now. You are simplifying it for the user and making it cheaper for the user while not having a token of your own. Respect on that. This space needs more of that. Absolutely.
I appreciate that, man. It's been very hard work. This is not a technically simple thing to do. There isn't anyone that we could fork. Most people, when they build the DEX, they'll fork PancakeSwap or Uniswap. We didn't have much to go on. And in fact, it took us a year and a half of building to get to this point. And it's the applications for this are several. This can be useful not just for swapping tokens, but swapping anything that's on crypto, right? But if you don't start by making it easy for people to go from one chain to the next, what ends up happening is you keep crypto communities isolated, right? You have the ETH crowd. They don't do much on Polygon and vice versa, and that's not necessary. A good project should be accessible to everyone, regardless on the chain that it's on, because that's how we will grow.
Could not agree more. 100%.
Yeah, I think Moon, you said it right. That this is exactly what crypto needs, especially DeFi, is the ability for a seamless cross chain. And again, if you could do it cheap and you can do it fast, I think you got a winner right there. So, how long have you been working on this? Maybe tell me a little bit about your roadmap and.
So we have a lot of plans, but we've been building this for about a year and a half, right? And the process was first to establish communication between the chains. And then from there, we had to establish a way to scan basically through the blockchain to see what is the best path to get to a transaction. Now, there are third-party services like 1inch and OpenOcean, and they offer that kind of service. What was important for us was to build a tool that aggregates all these aggregators together while also doing this by ourselves, so that we would never suffer the bias of any one provider, right? In fact, there are maybe 2 or 3 cross-chain swaps that came out before us. We've already expanded our reach for what can be traded beyond what our competitors have been able to do, because they rely exclusively on these third-party programs, while we don't only use them, but we have our own thing. And our own thing is, our approach is everything should be reachable on ChainArQ. Absolutely everything. Whether it's a token with taxes, whether it has fees, whether it's rebases, whatever the case, we shouldn't be the judges on where people spend their money. So, like I said, it took a year and a half to get to this point, and future development includes adding more chains, adding more bridge support. At the moment, we use Stargate and Seabridge. We're going to be introducing Thorchain and Hyphen and Synapse. This is so that the user never has to manually check, am I getting the best value? They get all of that work done for them very quickly on one platform, right? And in the future, and this is very exciting. Spoken to Rocket about this. This implementation can be applied to marketplaces like LunaSky, where if somebody lists an NFT on Ethereum, why should they have to only use that coin, right? Why shouldn't it be just as easy to buy an NFT as it is a token on our swap? So that's been interesting to discuss. I do hope we get to that point. But yes, enabling people to buy NFTs as well, using any token that they want, that's the next thing that we will be working on once we've beefed up the swap to the point where we're satisfied.
If you don't mind, I'd like to take you back a little further than with the start of development.
Sure.
I love hearing people's stories of when they came up with an idea. Could you maybe, was it yourself or was it a co-founder that kind of had this problem and you were trying to figure out a solution? How did you come up with the idea of it?
Like I said, I wanted to buy into projects which were on other chains from where I had my money. And I was quite new to DeFi at the time, so I didn't understand the concept of bridging. It seemed really risky to me. So depending on the project you'd invest in, you can only buy it on PancakeSwap. No, now you have to go to SpookySwap. It's just a mess. So I became frustrated with this. I have a group of friends that we hang out with in crypto, and we were looking at solutions, and we're like, well, why don't we make something where with just a click, you can buy into any project regardless of the token that you have, right? And it's easy to say, but then it took a while to figure out, is this even possible? Is the technology in crypto at a point where it can be done? And then, yes, we figured out, okay, we can do this. It's going to take a while, but let's start. And so it was the issue of missing out on opportunities on other chains that prompted us to make this.
I appreciate that very much because yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been there before trying to get in on projects, and it's, again, even just in simple projects like, oh, I didn't have enough ETH, or I didn't have enough of this particular token to get involved, and timing is everything. So
It is. It really is.
If you really want to take advantage of an opportunity, especially. So, what do you think? Like, in terms of your, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, even the fact that, let's say I do have money on multiple chains, it's still annoying to have to go to different platforms, get used to different UIs. We felt that there was a need for one place, just one place where people can swap, whether they want to stay on the same chain or not, that there'd be one place for them to do that, one place where it's familiar for them, where it's safe. Security has been what's taken the longest, right, in all this development process, because we want to make sure we're not creating any vulnerabilities. And just the convenience of it, right? Because the average day individual is not going to jump into crypto if it's too complicated, right? Which is why we've also partnered with an on and off ramp aggregator to also make it possible for people to jump into crypto directly on the site and then trade whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've talked to people quite regularly just getting into DeFi with, let's say, their favorite, let's say, Trust Wallet or whatever, MetaMask, and they're you lost them at the swap. You lost them right there. They're like trying to onboard, trying to buy BNB or whatever it is, or ETH, and they're just like, this is just too complicated. If you can simplify this process, it's exactly what the market needs.
That's the goal. And I think working with other projects is key, because you can't do everything yourself, right? You need to be able to work with other people. And finding good people to work with is hard enough. So, when you find them, you kind of don't want to let that go.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When you find good people, they're kind of like good mechanics, right? You never want to lose them.
They always get retiring age, these
exactly.
good mechanics. Right?
Good, what is it? Good mechanics, good lawyers, good dentists, you know what I mean?
I'm already following your project, Shak, because I think what you guys are doing is great. And it's absolutely I think you guys are addressing the number one issue with the whole of crypto, which is the complexity that it has and the big learning curve to get into for someone that's new. And I love that you guys are addressing that. And like I said, the space needs more of that. I think, yeah, go ahead.
No, I said I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I really like that. And the best way to really understand things is to compare them. So I like to compare the different chains that you have in crypto. It's kind of like, or it's exactly like different currencies and the real world market, right? The difference is, in the real world, you can buy any currency with any other currency. In the crypto world, it's a mess. It's a mess. You have to use swaps. You have to use special wrapped versions of the coin that you're trying to get. It is absolutely ridiculous. If the real banking world was that difficult, nobody would use it. So what you guys are doing is great.
I appreciate that. And it's true, the average spender, because the purpose of crypto, at least the way it was envisioned, wasn't just as a speculative exercise, right? It's there to replace, or at least to accompany, everyday fiat, right? I need to be able to buy something, food, whatever, with a currency that holds value using the blockchain. And the space is so segmented on different chains, and then on different chains you have different coins and tokens, that it's just unnecessary. It takes away from the intended purpose of the blockchain. So we're hoping to make that whole experience easier. And yes, the comparison of different currencies is one that I use as well when I try to explain to people who know nothing about crypto what it is that we're doing.
So Moon, you brought up a really, really good point, that everybody in here, please give Shak a follow, as well as Don and CK the Ghost as well. Follow their project and stay up to date on what they're working on, because it's super exciting stuff. I mean, it's a really, really revolutionary product. I really appreciate you guys kind of sharing that with us.
That's very kind.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious. So where do you see, I mean, obviously your project, you're working on this cross-chain aggregator. Where do you kind of see things going in the future in terms of DeFi? Have you kind of tried to read the tea leaves, kind of a thing?
I think, and we had to decide this early on. The space is going to be regulated, and we wanted to make sure that whatever we're doing now is regulation proof, right? Which is why we didn't make a token, because the rules around that are still unclear. We just wanted to make the tool that enables other people to use it, to interact with crypto. Again, where things are going, I think regulation is going to potentially shape the space in the next few years. I think adoption is growing. That's good. I think if we, as a group of people, right, there's 79 people on this chat. You guys have a great community. My community is great. They understand that the type of projects they should be following are the builders, not the meme coins, not the get rich quick type of thing. If we can keep growing in that direction, where everybody understands that there should be a purpose behind a project, we might starve out the scammers. Well, not completely, that will never happen. But if we starve out the scammers from this space, and we help each other to avoid those types of projects, avoid promoting them, avoid supporting them in any way, well, then the space will, in and of itself, get to a point where we can help shape this regulation, right? As some of the founders of the biggest dexes are trying to do, right? And eventually, we hope to become a space that is that can attract mass adoption, right? But we cannot do this isolated from each other. There is no one project that I believe that can do this by itself. So as far as your question, I think where are we headed? We're headed towards a time where more and more projects are going to have to work together, not just to survive, but to thrive.
Very, very well said. I completely agree with you. I think community is so important, but collaboration is equally important. So very well said. EverGrow Love, do you have a question?
Hey, yeah. Just real quick, I wanted to kind of put that in different terms. I know Moon was saying, that it's really needed in the space. I agree with him, but I also think it goes farther than that. It's not just in the space. You've got regular businesses out here already that are starting to accept Bitcoin, that are starting to accept a coin. And I might not hold that coin in my wallet, but I want to use it. I want to buy something there with crypto and support crypto. So using this technology, I'll be able to just go in. Hey, you accept crypto? Good. I'm going to use my BSC and I'm going to buy something that's being sold in Ethereum. I mean, it goes way farther.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that seamless kind of, you shouldn't be limited, right? And I think we're so comfortable with the way things are that some of us have kind of forgotten just that we should be really striving to make it better. I know a lot of people in NFTs think like Ethereum is where it's at, right? If you're building an NFT project on Ethereum, like it's somehow more legit than others, but I don't really think that matters. What you're using to buy with the NFT is what matters, right? Like in terms of NFT marketplaces, in my opinion,
Yes.
NFTs are what matters. How you buy it is really kind of your particular, if you want to use Bitcoin, go ahead. You want to use BNB, go ahead. You want to use BUSD, go ahead. Doesn't really matter, right?
funny you mentioned Bitcoin. That is the first non-EVM chain that we're going to be adding. We definitely want to have this out before the halving. And I think a lot of people who have been stuck on just having Bitcoin, they don't care about the rest of the space, it's just Bitcoin for them. Hopefully that will open their eyes to the fact that there is an entire community of people and projects and opportunities that exists outside of Bitcoin, right? And by enabling other community, like for example, EverGrow can be purchased on the Binance Smart Chain, yes? It shouldn't stop. Somebody who's on Polygon or even who just trades on Bitcoin should be able to jump into the project without too much hassle. And that's what we're striving to do.
Well, I can't wait. That's exactly what it needs. Like I said, that's exactly what the market needs.
Exactly what it needs.
Yeah. Hersan, did you want to jump in with a question as well?
No, my question was just saying something. After hearing his description, or what's intended to do, it feels like EverGrow is putting a team together for a mission. Like in a movie when you're going to do something and you pick up the good soldiers, the best of the best. It feels that way, not to me.
That is very cool.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I was going to cover that a little bit later on in the space, and we'll cover that in a little bit. Rocket, go ahead, man. Thanks for being here.
Hey! I just want to chime in because I've only got 10 minutes here. But what I wanted to ask is, you're launching an NFT collection. How does that tie into the project? Tell us more about that.
Our project, how it ties into the... So there's going to be different tiers of NFTs. Now, one of the things that we need to do, right, is we enable these swaps and we charge a fee per transaction, right? Because that's our revenue stream. Those NFTs will enable people to use the swap without paying those fees. So even though we already return better pricing than the normal DEXs, buying that NFT means you get, again, these are tiny figures, right, per transaction, but it adds up, especially once you start messing around with Ethereum. These savings add up. So you won't pay the fees. There's other things as well. There's a reward mechanism as well, where you would be entitled to receive part of the revenue we generate. That's one of the features of some of the NFTs. Then one of the things that we'll be doing is developing a cross-chain launchpad for projects. If you guys have heard of Pink Sale, you probably understand what that means. It's a place where people can list their pre-sale, and then investors can put their money in. It's safe because there's a third-party platform. But again, what bothered me is that I either have to go around looking for different platforms to invest in these pre-sales for different chains, or I would have to swap my money out. I think that's ridiculous. So once we have that launchpad, the NFT holders are going to have an automatic whitelist privilege for any project that's launching, so that they can get in first. There will be other perks as we develop the software even more. We definitely will continue to add value to the NFT, but so far, those are some of the features that the NFT holders will get to enjoy.
What a novel concept to be able to use NFT in this way. I've never really heard of that before. It's a really, really novel idea. I'm very excited to see you guys listen on LunaSky. Do you have any sample or idea of what these NFTs may look like? I mean, I know they're mostly functional NFTs, but are there going to be is there going to be any artwork associated with them, or will it be like the company logo or something like that?
So these are Blender designed, so they're 3D models, different. You know how, depending on, when you go to a nice hotel, right, you get given a card to enter your room. And the more expensive your room is, the nicer your room is, the cooler the card looks. So following that idea, we made these NFTs to be like access cards to the swap, and that's the design style. There's the logo in different colors and stuff, material rather, but they're meant to represent access cards, and the rarer the card you get, the nicer it looks.
So essentially, an early version of ticketing is what I'm getting from this. That's cool.
Very, very cool. CK, please jump in.
Yeah, no, I wanted to chime in here because this is where I could actually add value.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way we set it up is it's not art based at all. There are no like traits. Like you get special gold eyes and it's worth $1 million. None of that crap. It's a utility based NFT. There's no one of ones. None of that nonsense. It's there's gonna be multiple tiers. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say before Shak yells at me, but there's gonna be 3 tiers. Each tier has more, I guess, earnings when it comes to rev share and I guess rewards for holding those tiers. The NFTs look really cool, like he said. They literally look like hotel cards on the different levels. And that's the way we kind of split it out. So no art, no rarity, none of that nonsense. One-on-ones. It's utility based. The best way I can describe it to people that have been in the space is like Llama. If you guys know who Llama is, his NFT, where it's just kind of like a card where they're like kind of all the same, but there will be 3 tiers.
I like that. So you're not only simplifying the crypto space, you're also simplifying the NFT space. I, as an NFT artist, I actually appreciate that because, I mean, let's face it, at this point, we're all tired of monkeys with laser eyes. So, good choice.
I meant no offense to any of that. I mean, respect to all artists. You know, but yeah, this is not.
There goes my laser-eyed monkey collection. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we're not talented. We're not talented enough to make monkeys with laser eyes on Blender. So we just figured, let's do what we can. This is meant to be an art project to begin with. We want to signify the utility of them. The more time passes, the more valuable those NFTs will become as we add more utility. So again, the base network launched recently. We kind of missed that boat, but there are other chains that we are working on. I can't really divulge who just yet until the work is completely done. But the holders of those NFTs are going to have a small, but significant period of exclusive access to these new chains, right? And these will be chains that can only be accessed through ChainArQ initially. So the more we build, the more benefits we will add to these NFTs, whether they're the revenue share kind or not. Just having one of those, we intend to make them as coveted as possible.
And what I was going to say is, like, most of the time people associate NFTs with collectibles just because of maybe the rarity or the features or how they look, and here you are have an NFT that actually has value to it because it's revenue sharing. That is,
yes,
that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
We want to do something different. Again, it doesn't matter what you want to do in the space. If you're trading, if you're buying stuff, you should have one of those NFTs.
Really, I just love the idea of that. I'm so glad you guys decided to partner up with LunaSky. Did you, CK or Don, did you have anything else you want to add to that?
Rocket forced me to partner with LunaSky. That's about it. No.
He just muted himself.
No. I'm saying I'm really excited to partner with LunaSky. I've known Rocket for a while. Like I've said, he's preached to me for a long time how mature the community is, and I've been impressed, and it has followed through how mature the community is with understanding, no drama, you know, like business is business. So like I'm really happy that this arrangement has happened. Yeah.
We're really, really grateful to have you guys. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having us, man.
Yeah. Is there anything else, Shaq, you wanted to bring up to the community at all?
I'm looking forward to the mint. I'm looking forward to what the future holds between our two communities. That's for sure. Hopefully there'll be more. And yeah, I'm available. If anyone wants to know more about what we're doing, just follow me on or the official page on Twitter, and all the links are there. And I hope to see you soon. Steve, thanks again for hosting this.
Oh,
Very
it's
kind
my
of you.
pleasure. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And we actually, speaking of Paul earlier, he kind of spilled the beans over on Discord a little bit ago. I think it was yesterday. But the last we heard from the AMA, they said they were working on the 10 final items. And then Paul said there was left like 2 or 3. So 2 or 3 more bugs to deal with. And then he said in there that once those are done, the team will recruit 5 to 10 creators to upload their collection and make their profiles. And if there are no problems, they will scale that up to 30 or 50. And if there are no issues, we will be looking at imminent public release of LunaSky. So cross your fingers, guy. So that they chewed through, looks like at least 6 or 7 of them roughly in a very, very short order. So maybe, I don't know, Rocket, if you want to speak to that, or just kind of let it ride and we'll all be surprised.
I actually have to run, but yeah, let it ride. Just live in suspense, and we're almost there.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Rocket. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve, for hosting this.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for being here and sharing your project with us. Super excited to see what you guys have planned, and again, just for joining LunaSky, really, really appreciate it. If there's anything we can do to support your project, just let us know. We're here for you. So the EverGrow community is, just like I said, the best community in crypto. So glad to support you guys.
What's especially funny to me is how the truth is slowly coming out, and it turns out that Rocket, like by himself, like has caused like 10% of the EverGrow community to be hostage by making him either buy EverGrow or partner with.
He had me locked in a basement for 3 months building this.
He had me filming it all. It was like devastating.
Rocket did admit recently to having a dungeon, so I guess that's where he kept you.
Yeah, it was nice though. It was nice though. At least he gave me food and water, you know, and he would say hello, make a funny joke, and then leave me alone.
Oh man!
I wanted to add something to what Moon has said about what you guys are doing. It's amazing. When I first got into the whole crypto market and all the different chains and the coins, I found not a community, but just the opposite of a community. The battles that went on reminded me of grade school, and my daddy can beat your daddy up. And
Yep.
and the division was just terrible. It was the culture was toxic, and that has turned a whole lot of people off, and you are turning that around, and that is extremely admirable. I give you 1,000% or more support on what you're doing. Thank you.
What a great community! So much, so many nice things being thrown our way. This is awesome. And yes, the tribalism it still exists. Hopefully, we can do our part to change that, because in the end, we're all in it to better ourselves, to better our situation, right, in life. So yes, there is no need for these divisions. I don't think most of the people who petition for one chain over the other even understand the technical differences between the chain, right? So it's silliness.
It is silliness. You're 100% right, and I 1,000%, like CeeLo Lupi said, stand behind what you guys are doing and what you're saying, because it is ridiculous. And really, when you compare the crypto space and what happens in the crypto space to the real world, those problems become evident. Because let's look at the financial world, the financial real world, banks and Federal Reserves and all of that. And what happens with them? What happens with them is they stick together and have each other's backs, even though each one of them have billions and trillions and own a huge chunk of the world. Each of them do. And they are beyond powerful. And yet they still hold each other's backs and to stay in power. And compare that to what we do in crypto. Like you said, different chain from mine. Oh, you guys suck. We make fun of each other. We fight each other. Instead of bonding together and bringing crypto up, we fight each other like it's a different sports team, and it's a joke, and that needs to stop.
I do want to draw attention to this, that we're a relatively small project. We're new. When CK connected us to Rocket, he could have turned his nose up at us and said, "You're not big enough to work with us. Come back to us when you're significant," right? The fact that he's willing to help, that he's opened this opportunity up for us, I truly believe this is the way the space in itself is going to thrive, where we take a chance on each other and just. I think I'm not going to try and paraphrase this, but a real leader elevates others, and so in turn he is elevated. Something along those lines, and finding such a person who is willing to take a chance and to listen to what other people are doing and to give them a springboard. We need more of that. Over the past year and a half, I've spoken to a lot of different project leads. Some of them have been as kind as Rocket has, and some of them just said, "Nope, never heard of you. Come back when you're as big as we are," right? I would like to point out that a lot of those communities that I spoke to a year ago that were isolationists are now dead, right? And the ones that are open to working with others, maybe they're not doing as well as during the bull run, but they're still going strong.
They're still here.
Yep.
So incredibly well said. It's true. It really is. Frank, you've been so patient. Did you have a question for Shak or the team?
No, I just want to say, if you can manage to unite all of crypto and get rid of tribalism, maybe next step would be trying to unify mankind.
Oof. Jeez, I'll leave that to someone else.
Do you have an NFT for that?
The love NFT.
I think we'll have to, recruit a better artist than what we have for that to happen.
For world domination.
I don't know how much of an impact we can have on the space in this way, but whatever our impact is going to be, we're not going to be able to do it alone, right? So the more people we can... I'm going to take the opportunity to call out the other project that's launching on LunaSky, Bandroids. I've never spoke to them. I don't know their team, but I saw what they're doing, and you can see they put their hearts and souls into that project, right? If anyone's watched that trailer they made, wow. Again, I have no connection to them, but still, the fact that they're launching with you guys, that's significant. So this is how we'll grow. Together, alone, we'll just get torn apart by the banking system, and those who have an invested interest in not letting this happen.
Couldn't agree more. You like I said, just could not agree more. I think that the people who are truly got their head down, they're building, and not really concerned so much about the FUD, especially when it's not earned. I understand there's delays in every project. I mean, I'm sure you probably thought it was certain things weren't going to take as long as they were supposed to, but that's development, right? And you just have to roll with it.
Again, I was advised to speak as little about development stuff, or I'll bore people. It has happened now a few times where Rocket and I will talk about, development stuff, and then CK falls asleep on us. So
hey,
it's hard work, but it's worth it, is what I'm going to say.
And just quick note, not to take on a tangent. Yeah, it's funny when we have had our calls. They'll be talking, and like I understand dev, I code a little, but I'm not near their level in no way. And they'll be talking for like 30 minutes, and I'll just like type like, "So can we talk about the marketing now?"
That's too funny.
And just to add that in, CK never sleeps. He's just like resting with his eyes open, typing tweets. So,
guys, thank you for having us.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
if you have questions, I'll be here. I don't want to get in the way of the rest of the program. So thanks again.
Oh no,
And
we're here for you. So if there's anything else you want to add, by all means, it takes as long as it takes for you. We're usually at this for 3-4 hours, so don't you
oh
worry.
wow.
Yeah. So, but I want to remind everybody though to give you guys a follow, CKtheGhost, Don, and Shak, and of course ChainArQ. Please give them a follow and stay up to date on what's going on with the project. Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to stay on for the space. We're going to cover, like I said, some news and some crypto scams and stuff like that. We'll talk about some EverGrow updates and yeah, open questions for the community. So if anybody has any questions for the team of ChainArQ, just please raise your hand and we'll bring you up. And yeah, if you have any, please let me know. I'm just going to scan through real quick, see if there's any comments. I did see one from BB. Oh, go ahead.
I have a hard stop at 6:30. Somehow landed a date actually. So so I have a hard stop at 6:30, but open to questions until then.
Yeah, I don't see any questions so far. I did see one from Habibi, more of a statement. Thanks, Rocket EGC, for bringing these guys to LunaSky. Project sounds pretty amazing. I will give us extra value. So hyped. Good night, folks. Time for me to go to sleep. Thank you, Steve, for another great space. Man, thank you so much. Mad respect for you too. So thank you, Pug. Appreciate it so much. If you guys gotta, like I said, take off, by all means, but you're more than welcome to hang around and contribute. We'll get into some news real quick, but thank you again, Shak, CK, and Don. Much appreciated for being here today.
Thanks to everyone for listening, and thanks again for hosting. I'll be around here for another while, so good luck on your date, CK.
Is that allowed? Do you guys are allowed to have dates, or I thought it was?
From what I was told from Rocket, founders, I'm not a founder actually, so I'm excluded, are not allowed to have a social life. So I'm excluded. I'm allowed to have a social life.
Right, the first question on your date. Are you into crypto? No. All right, check. I'm out.
I never mentioned crypto, NFTs, nothing at all. I'm just like, oh,
you
yeah,
absolutely shouldn't.
I'm just like, oh yeah. Like I collect things.
That's the easiest way to lose immediately, is to mention any of that.
That's too funny. Well, good luck on your date, man. Hope it goes well.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for having us. We appreciate it. The whole team appreciates it. We'll be in touch and whatnot. I'll be on for another 20 minutes or so. But thank you again. Thank you to the whole community for hearing us, and we appreciate the support. All love, all around.
You bet. Thank you so much, guys. I saw actually, Fan. Did you have a question at all, or are you just kind of hanging out for questions about EverGrow? Actually, Fan, are you there? I know you're having issues with the mic on last AMA, so I'll just keep an eye on you. But more than that, if you want to come up and speak, just let me know. We'll go ahead and get right into the news. And unfortunately, it's kind of bad news to start. This one was from an article from Reuters from Hannah Lang. And apparently the Biden administration wants to unveil new crypto tax reporting rules. Wah, wah. So it goes like this. Cryptocurrency brokers, including exchanges and payment processors, would have to report new information on user sales and exchanges of digital assets to the Internal Revenue Service under a proposed U.S. Treasury Department rule published on Friday. The rule is part of a broader push by Congress and regulatory authorities to crack down on crypto users who may be failing to repay their taxes. A proposed new tax reporting form called the 1099-DA is meant to help taxpayers determine if they owe taxes and would help crypto users avoid having to make complicated calculations to determine their gains, the Treasury Department said. It would also subject digital asset brokers to the same information reporting rules as brokers for their financial instruments, such as bonds, stocks, and treasury, as the Treasury sets, right? Under the proposal, the definition of broker would include both centralized and decentralized asset trading platforms, crypto payment processors, and certain online wallets where users store digital assets. The rule would cover cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether, as well as NFTs. Brokers would need to send forms both to the IRS, digital asset holders, to assist with their tax preparation. This new requirement stems from the $1 trillion 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Job Act, which included a provision that aims to increase tax reporting requirements for digital asset brokers. It instructed the IRS to define what firms qualified as crypto brokers and provided forms and instructions for reporting. It also extended the reporting requirements for certain cash transactions of more than $10,000 to digital assets. At the time the bill was passed, it was estimated that the new rule could bring in close to $28 billion over a decade. The Treasury proposed this rules would be in effect for brokers for 2025 for the 2026 tax filing season. Quoted, the Treasury said in a statement, "This is part of the broader effort at Treasury to close the tax gap, address tax evasion risks posed by digital assets, and help ensure that everyone plays by the same set of rules." The crypto industry has mixed reactions to the proposal. Blockchain Associate CEO Kristen Smith said in a statement that if it done correctly, the new rules could help provide everyday crypto users with the necessary information to accurately comply with tax laws. Miller Whitehouse Levine, CEO of DeFi Education Fund, a lobbying group focused on decentralized finance, said the proposed approach would neither make filing taxes easier nor improve tax compliance. Today's proposal from the IRS is confusing, self-refuting, and misguided. It attempts to apply regulatory framework predicted on the existence of intermediaries where they do not exist, he said in a statement. The IRS currently requires crypto users to report on their tax returns many digital asset activities, including trading crypto, regardless of whether the transaction resulted in a gain. Users are required to make the calculation themselves, and the platform on which the digital asset trades do not give the IRS that information. Several Democratic senators, including Elizabeth Warren, urged in the Treasury a letter sent earlier this month to quickly implement the rules, arguing that otherwise tax evaders and crypto intermediaries will continue to game the system. The Treasury Department, most important part of this article, the Treasury Department and the IRS are accepting feedback on the proposal until October 30th. They will be also holding public hearings on the proposal November 7th and November 8th. This again was on Reuters. You can go check it out for that. I think it's really important that you guys have a say in this. Personally, I think it's really misguided to call a digital wallet, DeFi wallet, a broker. That makes no sense whatsoever. You're changing the definition of what a broker is. That's not what a broker is.
That makes zero sense. I don't even know what to answer to that.
Yeah, and it's and a swap, that's not a broker. It may be considered probably an intermediary in the best case, but no, it's not a broker. I don't know. Just really disappointing. That talk about squashing innovation. Just really bad idea. I don't know. I don't know what more to say about that, but I'm definitely gonna make my comment and my opinion known on that, and you guys should too. I'm gonna try and find a link for you guys so that and I'll post it here on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, so that you guys can send your feedback in, and I'll try to put it on Discord too. We need to get the word out. This kind of nonsense has to stop. So I think we do have to have legislation. But this is not. This to me doesn't sound like the right idea. But yeah. Anyway, Axifan, did you have a question, comment? Thanks for joining today. You still there? I know you're trying to jump up there for a minute.
Can you hear us, Axie?
Sometimes, yeah, we can't hear the speaker. Or actually, if you can hear us, just give us a thumbs up. If not, you can always reach out in Discord as well, and I'll try to. Oh, there you go. Okay, you can hear us. Did you have a question or anything? Give us a thumbs up if you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll get to you. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question? Go ahead and unmute yourself. I don't know if you're on desktop or mobile. Sometimes desktop doesn't work, I've heard. But yeah, all right, I'm not too sure. We'll get
Yeah,
into, yeah, I don't know. All right, scams. This one was kind of a little bit interesting. I think we'll all get a bit of a giggle out of this. The DEA accidentally sent $50,000 of seized cryptocurrency to a scammer. I thought that was kind of,
fantastic.
yeah, exactly. And you know, we'd like to think that these guys are pretty smart, right? So, and it's a common scam too. They got caught with. So yeah, earlier this year, the DEA was duped by a common cryptocurrency scam, resulting in the agency losing over $50,000 in digital money it had seized during a 3-year investigation into the use of digital currency for laundering suspected drug proceeds. In May,
So they seized that money, and the scammers got it right back. That's hilarious.
yep, the DEA received just over 500,000 in the dollar-linked cryptocurrency Tether from 2 Binance accounts it suspected were being used to funnel illegal narcotics proceeds. So, according to the search warrants reviewed by Forbes, the funds were placed in a DEA-controlled account stored on a hardware-based wallet, Trezor. And is that how you pronounce it, Trezor? And placed it into a secure facility. Meanwhile, a scammer had been watching the blockchain and noticed when the DEA sent a test amount of $45.36 in Tether to the United States Marshal Service as part of its standard forfeiture processing. The scammer quickly set up a cryptocurrency address that matched the first 5 and last 4 characters of the Marshal's account. In cryptocurrency, unique addresses are attached. We all know this. But basically what they did is they swindled them by airdropping them a fake address. And then when they went to send the money, they just copied that address instead of looking at it closely. I thought it was pretty funny. So yeah, the idea here is basically to trick the DA into thinking the scammer's address was actually the Marshal's service address. And crypto addresses are so long that people usually just copy and paste it instead of typing them afresh each time. Obviously, airdropping is a legitimate feature in cryptocurrency and sees an individual or entity drop tokens representing certain value of cryptocurrencies into somebody's account. It's normally done as part of a launch of a new token, but it's also been used and abused by those seeking to dupe crypto owners in scams like this. The scammer in the DEA case got lucky. The agency sent just over $55,000 to the scammer in a single transaction. When the marshals noticed what happened, they alerted the DEA, and the latter contacted Tether operators to freeze the fake account so the scammer couldn't withdraw their crypto, but Tether officials said the money had already been gone. Working with the FBI, the DEA determined the funds had been converted into Ether alongside Bitcoin, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies. You can find the rest of this article on Forbes. I thought it was kind of really, really interesting that that law enforcement got scammed. Like usually you would think that they'd be more savvy to this sort of thing, but it just goes to show you. So,
they're just as vulnerable as everybody else. They just like to pretend they're not.
exactly.
But at the end of the day, Steve, can you cover the Tornado Cash founders that got arrested?
Yes, actually, you know what? I didn't want it to go too long. CWP, did you look at that article at all?
No, but I was looking at another one about employees of OpenSea, an employee going to prison.
You want to go ahead and I'll go and dig up that article real quick on Tornado Cash if you want to go ahead and share that with the community.
There's actually something else that I would like to share, if I may, which I thought was very interesting. At the very beginning of the space today, while you were introducing our guests, there was a pop-up on my feed from geez, my brain is gone. From our partners from Ohio with
Oh, you're talking about Abstract VR?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And I went completely blank on that. But they just popped up a message that they are at the Wonderbus 2023 music festival in Columbus, which I thought was a very interesting thing. I looked up the music festival, not having heard of it, even though I'm a neighbor, and thought of this as just how much and what the benefit to them of promoting themselves through that kind of a venue will be. And I thought it had some tremendous potential that, of course, will roll over onto us, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I know talking to Bandroids last week, virtual concerts, that is just a huge potential right there. Imagine, let's say their NFTs, which give you access to a virtual concert. I mean, or even imagine if it was like a small venue or something. It doesn't not even thousands of people, just a couple hundred, or even a dozen of people, like where you can just meet these artists, right, and just listen to them play or whatever. I think it's a fantastic idea.
On the former employee of the NFT Marketplace on OpenSea, um, I'll just throw out the info on this briefly. He was found guilty, excuse me, of wire fraud and money laundering, and has been given a massive prison term of 3 months of home confinement. In addition, 3 years of supervised release, a $50,000 fine, and ordered to forfeit the Ethereum he gained from trading NFTs. Um, it, Projects are just, they seem to attract criminals. Um, Maybe that's my negative view, but um, speaking of that, I'm wondering how many, because most of the people on here are male, how many of you are being hit on by female scammers trying to develop a relationship with you? I just had a very, very interesting one go on. It's probably my fourth or fifth. I tend to respond to my direct messages, not because I'm trusting, but I'm curious and interested in people. So I've been thinking about changing my profile picture to an 18-year-old hot female just to avoid some of this.
Yeah, you might get the wrong attention for that. You might get,
Exactly. But at least it wouldn't be scammers, maybe.
maybe. Oh my God, that's funny. Give me a second to bring
Yeah,
Rocket up.
the employee was Silip was talking about on OpenSea, I think, was the former employee of OpenSea that was doing insider trading. So he knew what NFTs or collections were going to be posted on the main page, on the homepage of, promoted on OpenSea, and with email promotion, all of that before it went live. So he invested in that and then sold it for a lot of gains when they eventually promoted it. So insider trading, basically.
Classic insider trading. Yeah, I did find that article on Tornado Cash. Rocket, I don't know if you wanted to jump in at all, but by all means, if you do. But
Oh no, just wanted to hop back in since I'm freed up again.
yeah, I appreciate it,
I'm
man.
here for
Thanks
you.
for being here. Thank you. So yeah, Tornado. This was also on Forbes. Tornado Cash co-founders charged in the U.S. with more than $1 billion in money laundering. So the co-founders Roman Storm and Roman Semenov are facing multiple charges in the U.S. prosecutors for their involvement in creating and developing a blockchain privacy tool used to allegedly launder more than $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency. I mean, we've talked about Tornado Cash in these spaces over and over, how it's like the perfect money laundering tool for crypto. The article goes on and says, in a DOJ indictment unsealed on Wednesday, the two facing counts of conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to violate sanctions, conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business. The two were charged to carry each a maximum prison sentence of 20 years, while the last one only is 5 years. The indictment comes a year after sanctions were imposed by the U.S. Treasury on Tornado Cash and the arrest in the Netherlands of their third co-founder, Alexei Pertsev, for allegedly money laundering related to his involvement in the project. Pertsev, released nearly after 9 months of jail, is still awaiting trial. Roman Storm Dave Tip to jail. Where does it go here? Storm, located in the U.S., was arrested by the FBI and the IRS, according to his lawyer, Brian Klein. Storm's arrest came as a surprise since he was cooperating with authorities and denies any criminal conduct. Storm was shortly released after posting bail. Yeah, Brian Klein, an all-star crypto defense attorney, previously represented Virgil Griffith, an Ethereum developer who had been convicted of sanctions violations. as a result of the conference in which he spoke in North Korea without permission. Griffith was sentenced to over 5 years in prison in 2022. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting because Tornado Cash, I mean, where does all the dark money go? It goes right there. That's how you wash it. Kind of sad, actually, because why don't people trust crypto? You have stuff like this that goes on. It's really unfortunate.
It's just great to see them, being held accountable. Because as long as Tornado Cash services exist, it effectively provides a way for scams to happen, and for that liquidity to be sold and to be transferred into cash, to real world money. And having that just lets the scamming problem run even more wild than already is. If anything, I'd say the existence of Tornado Cash made a lot of those scams happen in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was their intent when they created Tornado Cash, but it's kind of like at the beginning of when people were using Bitcoin to launder money, right? They thought it was a convenient tool to basically skirt around the laws, and because usually you make any large deposits into your bank, it immediately gets flagged. They're required to let the IRS know when there's large deposits go into your account. So
yeah, $50,000 and over, I think.
I think it's 10 in the U.S. to my knowledge.
It's now 5, I've heard, but they won't tell you.
Oh, wow, that's really calmed down.
Wow, I didn't know that. So 5,000 now. Wow.
I don't know that for fact because it's secret information.
Really?
And the banks are not allowed to discuss it with you.
Wow.
I have, I have friends that are in my bank, personal friends, and I've asked them, and they clamp down quicker than Cody and Rocket do on talking about it because it's illegal for them to disclose it.
Interesting. Yeah, you wouldn't think it would be a big deal, right? I mean, it's just being transparent.
Except that way, if it's 5,000, you can deposit 499.99 and avoid the possibility. So they don't want you to know how to game the system.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Steve, may I share some positive news for a change?
Please do.
All of this scam crap is really depressing. Factual though, so it's really nice to have a piece of news that just melted my heart, so to speak. We all know, I'm sure, or most of us have seen the amputee interfaces where a person has lost a limb and their muscles are wired up to the fake limb, to the false limb, and works, and there have been some quite a few very interesting developments with people with direct brain implants for the deaf community, among others. But this just really blew me away. Scientists have developed a groundbreaking brain-computer interface that has allowed a paralyzed woman, Ann Johnson, to communicate through a digital avatar after years of being unable to speak due to a stroke. And this achievement is the first example of generating speech and facial expressions directly from brain signals. Can you imagine to have been locked inside your body and unable to communicate normally, and suddenly you can talk as if you were not paralyzed? What a beautiful thing to happen.
Can you tell me a little bit about where this was happened at? Like, is it at a university, or is it at a lot of times, like, they do these funds where they're under grants or something like that, and they come up with this technology. So who kind of pioneered this?
The rest of the article mentions names, but I'm not sure if that's the answer. A future vision of this project involves making BCI systems Bluetooth compatible, eliminating the need for physical connections. And the ultimate goal is to fully restore natural communication allowing individuals like Ann Johnson to interact in the most intuitive way possible. Edward Chang, MD, chair of the neurological surgery at UCSF, expressed the aspiration to enable a, quote, a full embodied way of communicating, unquote. So I assume from this that it's UCSF that is doing the work on this.
So much remarkable innovation that's going on in the space right now. It's that I can't even imagine. If I try to imagine what it would be like to be trapped like that, to not be able to express yourself. And then there's people that are actually trying to bridge this gap and to help people. I mean, just think of even just with amputees. I mean, to be able to the full use of their limbs, or at least to get some functionality back, is a huge thing. But if you can't communicate, I mean, I remember when Stephen Hawking had that computer device that helped him communicate. Otherwise, if he didn't have that, what options would you have to be able to communicate, right? And here's this man that's like trapped inside his body, and yet all he can do is think, right, and come up with ideas about things. Just goes to show you, that there's just so much to be done in medicine. What a great article! Thank you for sharing that.
There's another thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Moon.
Tag Colin on that.
Or Rocket what?
Tag Colin in that article.
I can only barely hear you. Sorry, Rocket.
I'm sorry.
Somebody translate for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's saying.
Can you hear me now? Any better? Any improvement?
A little.
Okay. Yeah. Tag Colin, Effective Reality.
Oh, tag Colin from Objective Reality. Yes.
Very, very cool. Thanks
There's
again for
another thing that I've thought about this. This is just one of the horror stories from my past was Woody Guthrie. I don't know how many people on this platform would remember him, but he wrote some of the most famous songs in American history in the 30s and the 40s. And his son was Arlo Guthrie, that if any of you are old hippies like me, you might remember him at where is it? The Folk Festival in New England. I can't think of right now. Singing the song Alice's Restaurant, which was a half an hour long song about being drafted and not being able to be drafted because he was a criminal, because they had dumped trash. But anyway, I'm saying that because Woody, who had spent his life traveling as an itinerant, in a lot of ways musician, he was a wanderer and spent his entire life communicating, ended up with ALS. And he was in a Brooklyn hospital, unable to talk for 12 years. He asked Arlo when he could still communicate to kill him. And Arlo made an attempt at killing his father and was found out in the process and never allowed to see his father for years.
Now imagine if you gave somebody an opportunity to communicate where they didn't think they'd have a choice, right?
Exactly.
This is what that technology can do, and give people hope to live, maybe not necessarily the way that they thought they would live, but to give them an option to do something different. And I think a lot of people, if they have an option, they'll take it. So
absolutely. And this is why, Steve, and CWP, I'm always so, at least personally, I'm always looking forward to new technologies. I'm a progressive person. This is why I dislike people who, those types of people who are regressive, who usually say that, all the old days were the better days. The old times were better than today. Today sucks. And when you look at it, that is simply not true. Pretty much with every metric you could measure, that is not true. And the ultimate proof of that comes with new technologies. These sorts of developments are possible. People who suffer daily with terrible illnesses can be made at least partially whole again. And this is now in 2023. Can you imagine 20, 30 years from now when new technology, like Steve was saying, will allow you to grow a new arm that you lost, grow a new leg, grow an organ, whatever wasn't possible before is possible now. So losing a limb is no longer a lifetime problem for you, or incapacitation for you. It is now fixable within a certain time period, months, years, it doesn't matter, but it's fixable. All of these things are brought forward by technology and by progressive thinking people, not regressive, progressive. And that's ultimately why I think that way. Sorry, Don, go ahead.
Thank you for, thanks, no problem. I was just thinking about a different angle about the whole technology. So thinking about what you said about what happens in 20 years, 30 years. So if we have a technology that enables digital communication in a digital world through brain interfacing, and we all live more and more in the digital world, I could very much imagine that the science fiction ideas of, transcending partially or living in a digital space, or being able to really feel like you are there and feeling alive in a digital space would be amazing, especially for, like people that lost limbs, or maybe people that are otherwise impaired socially. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's of course also very bullish for crypto for me, because crypto is the internet money, is the digital money and the digital supercomputer. So just sprinkling that in here.
I was thinking about what you said earlier, Moon, and that I remember an interview. It was a radio interview, and they were talking about innovation, right? And they were saying something to the effect, I'll paraphrase here, that you don't send people to the moon by being a pessimist. In order to send people to the moon, you have to be an optimist. You have to be able to envision that we can do this. We can solve the problem. You can't just go, well, that's too hard, and oh man, the technology doesn't exist. Why bother? You got to be an optimist, and that in everything technological, you've got to be able to be an optimist. And I think in crypto, there's a lot of optimists, which is probably why I like hanging around with you guys. So
exactly, and that's ultimately the way that you should think. Whether it's medical innovation, whether it's going into outer space and trying to colonize the solar system, and beyond just things like you said, are firmly in science fiction today, can and will become a reality tomorrow. Because if we listen to the people that say we cannot do those things, that we should not do those things, that humans shouldn't be in space, that we should, explore the bottom of the oceans before we go into outer space, if we listen to those people, humankind would still be rubbing sticks together to make fire. So at the end of the day, that is what it boils down to. We have to be visionaries, just like we are visionaries in crypto at EverGrow, but we have to be visionaries in everything else and boldly go forward and go where no one has gone before and try to do it.
Yeah, and it's those accidental discoveries that we make through trying is where innovation really, really happens, right? I don't know if you guys ever, my apologies for the dog in the background, but there is a TV show, I think it was something about the food that made America or something, and they were talking about how what type of food was it now? They accidentally overcooked something, type of food, and they thought it was a mistake, and then they realized that, hey, this tastes better than it was. Oh, it was the peanut butter cups, the Reese's peanut butter cups. And so they were using the old recipe and they were selling it and all that stuff, but then they overcooked it. The oven was too hot. And so they brought it to the owner, and said like, hey, we screwed up here. And he tasted it and he said, this is great. Don't change anything. So purely accidental, right? So.
Right.
Exactly. Well, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to jump into an AMA recap, if that's cool. So I tuned in on Sunday, and I was only unfortunately able to catch about half of it just because I was going to a hotel while we had the tropical storm kind of moving through this area. But then I went back and listened to the whole thing this week because I was going to get some, obviously points for this space, but also for the podcast and then the YouTube video. And man, there was a lot of good information in that AMA. And while there was a great update, I think if you were able to read between the lines just a little bit, there was a ton of little nuggets in there that will help you understand Sam's view of EGC and the direction he believes it needs to go. So we got I'll just break it down real quick, but we got a realistic view of the current state of the crypto market in general. Sam provided an update on kind of one of the whales that got taken out and put EGC in an even better position than before. While that did affect the price of EGC, we were provided with obviously an opportunity to accumulate more at a lower price. Nobody necessarily likes when the price goes down, but if you're in the accumulation phase in your mindset, then this was a great opportunity. With EGC at kind of bargain basement prices right now, I never thought we would see these prices. Sam broke down the financial state of EGC and how we have plenty of funds in reserve, not only in BNB but BUSD. Cody and Rocky gave us an update on the status of LunaSky, indicating that they were working on 10 items, but now it's like 2 to 3, as Paul had provided an update on Discord, which I read off earlier. Really, really super exciting news. Sam also covered the integration of abstract VR, objective reality, as well as Bandroid's partnership on LunaSky, which is great news as well. We got an Atlas wallet update, and I can tell you right now that we're downloaded, I think it was build 18 now, and the beta testers went right to work immediately and testing all aspects of the wallet. I can tell you these beta testers are leaving no stone unturned. They're being incredibly detailed, and you should all be incredibly proud of the work that they're putting into this. There's currently kind of a Google Doc that people are putting the info into when they have issues with anything. And I mean, that thing started going right away. Like people were contributing into it right away. Not necessarily big issues, but still things that need to be taken care of, right? The features packed into this release and planned future updates, I think, will really, really impress you. Sam also spoke in detail about how the team didn't settle for the standard Chrome extension, just like other guys. He wanted a fully functioning extension that packs in as many features as possible. I think you guys should be really, really happy about that. Nobody wants just a carbon copy of what the other guys have. We're going to innovate in this space, and this is going to be fully functioning Chrome extension. Paul also gave us an update on the off-ramp solutions that he was testing for the last few months. I'm surprised he was able to keep that secret. His testing for the US market has revealed that you're not going to have to wait like 48, 72 hours for your money to hit your bank account. You won't even have to wait 24 hours or even 12. That sounds like an infomercial. In his testing, it was a matter of 30 seconds or less. So this is what innovation is, guys. EverGrow isn't about doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. The team is pushing the boundaries and trying to give you the very, very best utilities out there. So yeah, I was kind of, when he said like under a minute, I mean, are you kidding me? I'm sending my crypto to my bank and it's happening in a minute or less. Wow. One other very handy feature I think that many people will like is the direct bill pay from Atlas Wallet. So imagine not even having to send your funds to your bank account. You can just pay your bills, your utilities, whatever, right from your Atlas Wallet. You don't even have to do any conversion. You don't have to like make to BUSD or anything. You can just pay in crypto. But the meat and potatoes, the thing for me, the most consequential portion of that AMA was Sam's view on marketing. Frankly, I thought it was pretty incredible and refreshing to hear. He spoke about the kind of waste of money of traditional crypto advertising, banners, hiring crypto influencers to show your project. That isn't to say, though, of course, there is a place for crypto influencers. But if you're relying on them to kind of send your project to to the moon or whatever, I just think most people are wise to those kind of games nowadays. We've seen that, and many of these crypto influencers too. They've been charged by law enforcement for shilling projects without telling you they were, that they were being paid by these endorsements and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think as far as what marketing means for EverGrow, EverGrow at its core is community, plain and simple. So community isn't just something you can easily buy and hold on to. It's totally organic in nature. It has to come naturally, and it's nurtured by the team and the values that they represent. So the team has been what I believe the most transparent project in crypto, and they have over and over acted with integrity, accountability. You and I, being loyal followers of EGC, have kind of stuck with this team and led by example by doing things like giveaways, helping out our community members, supporting them when things are good, but also supporting them when things are not necessarily good. The team are a group of incredibly hardworking people And you've seen them in the community on Discord, on Telegram, over in Facebook, and on Reddit, and they're working hard. But I think they work as hard as they do because the tone is set by guys like Sam, by Paul, by Cody, by Rocket, and they're all pulling in the same direction. How many times have you had people come into these spaces, right, in AMAs or even just these spaces here, and said how much they love EGC, right? I mean, I can't even count how many. They don't just love EGC because of the contract or because of the BUSD rewards, or they love EGC for what it represents and what the vision is. The team has obviously faced criticism over their choices and the delays and all that stuff, but they've never shied away from them. They've always taken responsibility. They've always basically taken that accountability for the mistakes and delays, and they've moved past them. I think really that kind of says so much about a project that they can, own it and say, okay, you know what, we maybe didn't see things the way we thought they were going to be, and we're growing from it, and we're going to learn from it, and we're going to move on, right? I think that is all of these things that I just said. This is not something that can be bought. This is our greatest asset, and we will build on these values. We will work with other communities, and we will help them build their projects, which in turn will help us build our project. This is EverGrow, and we are EverGrow. Sam has had this vision for EverGrow to be the greatest reward token project. He said that in the AMA, and I have no doubt in my mind that we will succeed at that vision, but we will get there through hard work, collaboration, and building on those core values of what EverGrow represents. This vision of what he talked about at this AMA, where Sam, Paul, and Cody, and Rocket have talked about this vision of LunaSky, how LunaSky is an NFT marketplace built by the community for the community. Those communities that want to join LunaSky will benefit from all of us supporting them and they supporting us. And things such as royalties, for example, right? Like I said before, when listening to Sam talk about marketing, I knew at that moment exactly what he meant and where him and the team are kind of going. And I think if things unfold, if they unfold in the way that I think they're going to unfold, we're going to have a project like no other in crypto. If you're proud to be an EverGrow now, you will be shouting EGC from the rooftops, if I'm right. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fast. It's going to be one step at a time. But EverGrow will come to be a name that is universally respected and admired for what we're building as a community together. So I was kind of a long kind of a thing, but I really appreciate it if you give me some feedback on what you think that means and what you think of it, just overall. Thank you. Anybody can jump in at any point. I didn't put you to sleep, did I?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate that. That was beautiful. I think everybody's just speechless. How do you respond to that or follow up? That was
I
beautiful.
appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. It's just that I kind of just when I was listening, I was kind of just listening to Sam talk about, and I was like, wait a second, I think I know exactly what he's going to do here. He wants to make EverGrow the greatest rewards token. And I thought to myself, how is this going to happen? And I have an idea, and I'm not going to say what it is, but if it is going to happen the way it's going to be mind blowing, you guys are going to love it. And so we'll see what happens. But you guys don't seem to want to accept second best. So, there you go. Rasan, jump in.
Yeah, before I say something about this, about what you just said, I wanted to touch base, not base, about the dreamers when I think it was Moon and Roy who was saying about the progressive things. Man, I have, well, the older I grow, the older I get, I find myself like getting isolated with or from people that think that way, like having an everyday routine, not waking up with a purpose. Like I can't do that. I have to dream. I years ago wrote a book, Behind the Curtains, based on my life. I changed names and everything, and I wrote that mostly for my kids, where I come from and things I've been through. And ever since I was a kid, I've been a dreamer. And some of those things, big things that for a child were big, now they've become true. But now I have bigger dreams. And the thing I wrote is that the continuous movement of everything belongs to the everyday, to the average citizen, average person. But the change belongs to the dreamers, because we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need all that to keep everything moving. But if we don't have dreamers, everything would be the same. We'd be back in stone, living in cages. But think to somebody that says, you know what, we can get out of here. We can build a car, we can build a plane. The hard thing is that those people are criticized at the moment, but later, whether they are acknowledged or not, we owe that to them. And like me, I can't get up. Like, what am I gonna do today? I have to have a plan, and I'm always excited about my kids, the gym, crypto, something. The day that I get up that way, like I get depressed. That's how I feel, and it's true. I have to have always a purpose. I've done, and that's not what I'm saying. It's not just about me. It's that helps. It's like a therapy. People talk about depression. That's one of the things that help me fight depression, being happy, being focused, having a purpose. In crypto, man, there's always something new. So crypto it can be a good place for that, because there's something new. And
There really is always something exciting about crypto. Like
exactly,
there's always something new,
yeah.
innovation.
Like if you think about the stock market, just the idea makes me going nuts. Like, no, you say for the next 30 years. What do you do in the meantime? Like, there's no utility to talk about. There's no new product. There's no new invention. There's nothing. Just you save as whatever you can every month and let it be there for 30 years. That idea makes me, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that I need something, and there's more people like me. Again, going back to that point, we owe the change, the progression of everything to the dreamers, to those who think that we can't be in a routine every day. Now, going back to the AMA, man, I am so glad that I am at this point of the market, like in the bottom. And in my case, for a little bit, I wish we can go a little bit lower, because that way I can get a little, add to my bags. And I'm happy too, because at this moment, it's when you find out, that's my thinking, the true projects, the true companies, coins, tokens that are going to succeed in the bull market. Because when everything was up, there were a ton of crypto. I, put some money in all of them. Coming down now in the bear market, most of them are gone. Most of them are gone. So now I know which are those coins that are going to thrive when the bull market comes. And I want to share, I don't know if I said, but I want to share this little story. I put $100 on a coin in January, right? $100. I found it brand new. And it went down little by little, month by month. Well, like in a year, it went down to less than $2. But I didn't know that. Another thing, that project didn't say much. Like, I didn't see AMA, nothing that will tell you, hey, this is gonna be great. This is the utility. Nothing, just there. And like in a month, it went from under $2 to $1,800, man. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so that's how I discovered, or I learned the hard way, the lesson of put some money on the way down, because that's where true, like rich people become, right in the bottom, not on the way up. I didn't know that at the moment, so I'm learning and applying that lesson now for EverGrow, because I know that with everything EverGrow is building, it's gonna be huge and impactful in this industry. Now better than ever that you don't see 100 coins showing up every day, you know. Anyway, thank you.
No, that's very well said. I'm so glad that you've had a project that you really really benefit from, and it's kind of rare to find those little gems. You know what I mean? And again, they weren't making any noise. They weren't advertising what they were doing, or they were just stuck to doing what they were supposed to be doing, working, and then when they were ready, they launched. And crypto is kind of difficult because everybody wants the AMAs every week. Everybody wants well, tell me what you're working on and what you're doing and how's this going? And they want to be like directly involved in every little aspect of it. And that just can't work. It just gets in the way of of kind of development, right? And that's why I do these spaces, is because I can stay up to date on certain things. Like I'm not on the inside, that's for sure, but I can stay up to date through research and all that stuff and help you guys out and share that knowledge and then keep you guys engaged and keep you guys contributing and hopefully just kind of help kind of bring up the market, you know what I mean? And just bring us together as a community. So yeah. What I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember exactly what you had said that really kind of struck a chord with me. Maybe it was buying on the way down. I think in psychology, um, I remember hearing so many people say, like, don't try and catch a falling knife. And that in stocks is very, very true. Like, you see a stock go down and you're thinking, well, where should I buy, right? And they're worried if you try to catch a falling knife, you're going to get hurt. So I think that psychology gets carried over to crypto too, because people don't know where the bottom is necessarily. Um, but if you believe in the project, the price doesn't really matter all that much because you're invested in the idea, you're invested in the founders, you're invested in the team, you're invested in the community like I am. So it doesn't really matter all that much. Yeah, I can get more value right now, and I'm grateful for it. But even if it was 10 times higher, I would still be buying it. It's not like I wouldn't be buying it, you know what I mean? I would still be accumulating. We're just given a really good opportunity right now. And a lot of people see price as weakness. If the price goes down, there must be something wrong. And in reality, it's just sometimes it just is what it is. We're at the whims of the market. We're at the whims of the macro environment, right? So it doesn't mean the project's bad. There's many great projects out there that are suffering with low price of their tokens because of the market, because of the overall kind of perception of crypto. So yeah, that was kind of my point right there.
And also, Steve, we got to remember we're what, not even 2 years old. EverGrow, whether we like it or not, that goes for LuCrow as well. But mainly EverGrow has, excuse me, has to establish itself as a crypto, as a company, as a community. We have a lot to grow. I mean, let's face it, we're small. Okay, we're not the smallest, but we're small. And we have a lot to prove going forward. And until that proof is given, we can't reasonably expect, any sort of growth, let alone explosive growth. This is going to be a slow climb. This is going to be the building of a company and the building of a project over time, which will eventually, with new products and new utilities being released and more value added to the project, over time, it's going to start turning that knob. It's going to start turning that dial, and we are going to see the price starting to go up slowly. The whole explosive thing of 2021, like I've said many times before, I don't think we'll see that again. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we'll see that again. But what we will see is the slow growth of this project and of this company as more trust and more time passes, and we gain more trust from the crypto community going forward.
Moon, I think you're wrong. I think we will, and not completely wrong, but I think there will be a point in our future of EverGrow to see a huge price spike. Maybe not as much as the ATH spike at the beginning, but somewhere equivalent. And um, and and I am predicating my comment on, I don't know if my brain is any different from anybody else's, but I tend to be able to see a lot of things in reading between the lines on a whole lot of things. And with discussions with Cody and Rocket and their public comments, I see a whole lot of things in between that I'm reading about our future. And I am not privy to the plans that are being brewed up, but I think there are going to be some just stunning things coming. Maybe much bigger than anything that we can see today. Um, and it's going to be explosive. Um, I wanted to comment on your knife falling, Steve. It wasn't too many years ago, back before the iPhone, when Apple was in trouble. And I didn't have any money to buy stock at the time, which is the story of my life often when I have an opportunity. But Apple stock was selling at under $2 a share. And that was before a gazillion, well, I don't know how many a gazillion is, but how many times has the stock split since that time, since the iPhone came out? Um, if I had been able to buy $100 of Apple stock, I would probably be a millionaire today too. And that is exactly what we're sitting on with EverGrow. I would be happy to see EverGrow grow another zero. Um, for those people that already have a trillion or 500 billion EGC, great. I'm far, far, far from that. And maybe I'm just being greedy, but I would like a few hundred billion.
And imagine even at this current price, $100 would get you around 2.5 billion, right? So, I don't want the price to go down, of course, but if it does, just think what that could do for buyback and burn, right? Let's say we start generating revenue and the price stays where it is. You're able to buy way more for buyback and burn than you are if the price drops to zero or two zeros. Then you have to start kind of evaluating, is this money well spent? Yes, of course, buyback and burn is very important, but it's got to be strategic. It always has to be strategic. If you're just throwing money into it, regardless of thinking of it, then it's not a good strategy, right? So that's why Sam has said many times strategic burn, and the team has basically said, we will burn EverGrow strategically. And I think that's smart. Don't just burn it randomly just because. Yeah, there is automatic burns, I get that. But strategic burn is really, that's where value is really delivered.
Correct. And even that burn strategy, if you really look into it, is funneled. It is engineered for what? For the long-term success of the project. Because if you wanted to, if this was going to be a short-term thing, then you just burn everything tomorrow. So there's a reason, for things being done the way they are and why the team does things the way they are. And it's to sustain this project as long as possible and give it a growth over time that we're going to need if we're going to be successful in the crypto market. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think spending the money wisely, Sam could have blown a bunch of marketing money last year when things weren't really looking so hot. I mean, maybe at the time in January things were looking good, but just a month later, man, things started going down and down and down. And if we had blown that money, you're not going to get it back. So, being smart about the money was, I think, one of the wisest things he's done for EverGrow. And he understands the value of having a nest egg and sitting on it and waiting for there is an opportune time to do things. And when he and the team come to that decision, I have full faith and trust that they're make the right decision with the information they have currently, right? Nobody can necessarily have foreseen everything.
Right, exactly. I have to say, regarding Sam specifically, those two things, what you just mentioned, so not deciding to not go and spend all of the marketing money because he could foresee a downturn in the market, and what do you know, lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And second, when he decided and announced to start taking a step back from exchange listings and how exchanges were going to start losing a lot of importance, I could see that. I just did not think it was going to happen this fast. So at the time, I didn't think it was the best decision. Lo and behold, he was right again. It was those two things that gave me all the respect that I have for Sam. because they were absolutely 1,000% correct decisions right before the crap happened. So
Yeah, even for me, I was just like, hey, if you really want to, if you want to like take off, get on a centralized exchange. That's, that's where I thought we really needed to be. Maybe Lucro down the road could be a good opportunity for that. But again, it would have to make sense, right? I don't think Sam would just make that decision just for a temporary pump in price. And not only that, but you've seen a lot of tokens, they go onto centralized exchanges and they don't pump at all. If anything, they drop. So you've got to be really smart about it, and you've got to represent real value.
you do, and it's the fact that he did it when he did it. Because if you ask me, yes, I've known that centralized exchanges have had their days numbered for a long time now. I'd say for at least 2 years now. I just didn't think that we were going to start seeing the downturn of centralized exchanges now. I thought that was 1, 2, 3 years away. And what do you know? It wasn't. And he's right.
Yeah, absolutely. How many other decisions were being made behind the scenes that we just don't know about? So yeah, I agree 100%. Hassan, go ahead, jump in. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me bring up Ivan first. He's been so patient.
Hey there, guys. Quick question about Atlas Wallet.
Sure. What you want to know?
Yeah. As far as wallets go, will it be comparable to, say, Ultimo Wallet?
So I'm not personally familiar with Ultimo. Anybody
Okay.
else here?
I am not.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about Ultimo, and then maybe we can make kind of a reasonable judgment.
Ultimo is more of a savings account wallet that you're able to off-ramp your crypto and then also spend your money off of credit.
So it's a DeFi wallet, right?
Correct.
Wait,
SquidGrow
credit?
SquidGrow recently adopted this wallet.
Interesting. Well, I'll check it
Yeah,
out. I'll check it out and see what it looks like, and maybe on the next space, if you're kicking around, I'll give you an idea. Maybe other people can look at it too.
right on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, was that all? Was that your only question?
Yeah, that's it. That's
All right.
it. Thank you.
Right. Well, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. Hassan, go ahead, jump in.
Okay. So please, someone explain, clarify to me. Based on the way you guys explain, Sam explained Atlas Wallet, do you think it will have the potential to replace the use for centralized exchanges? Because if I can buy and sell, basically if I can do the same thing that I can do in a centralized exchange, then I don't need any centralized exchange, right?
100% accurate.
Okay.
That is the whole point.
Okay.
That's the whole point of Atlas Wallet, is to be able to not only conveniently store your crypto, be able to on-ramp and off-ramp quickly and cheap. And when you think about a centralized exchange, right, the only thing you really are going to use them for is to, you're going to buy an asset, right? And then you're going to liquidate an asset at some point, and then you're going to off-ramp it to your bank account. So really, all the assets that you see on centralized exchanges can be bought elsewhere. There's maybe a handful that are only on centralized exchanges that I know of, but for the most part, it's free reign, right? So yeah, that's the whole point, is to basically, I wouldn't say replace, but a better alternative, I think. That's my opinion.
It's centralized exchanges. I mean, with the exception of Binance Exchange or Coinbase, the truly mammoths of the space. With the exception of those, EverGrow doesn't really benefit. And the only reason it would benefit from those, whether it's EverGrow or Lucro, doesn't matter. The only reason it would benefit from those two is because of the massive exposure that would give the project. That is it. That's all the benefit you're getting. Of course, that's a very good benefit considering, the size and how much exposure we would get. But other than that, there is absolutely zero value in it for pretty much almost any crypto project as we stand today.
I guess the benefit. Go ahead, CWP, if you want to jump in.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I think I understand what you're saying, Moon, but this community is so awesome. And maybe this is arrogance on my part or having my head in a dark place. I think we can promote EverGrow equal to the big centralized exchanges and the benefit that we will get from there. I think the word of mouth that we're going to get, which is always positive word of mouth advertising, is absolutely the best there is, and we are going to have some awesome advertising from word of mouth.
And just think of the partnerships that you're building, right? Those communities working with EverGrow, and we work with them. And as you continue to build these relationships, to bring in those people with you. So I think you can organically really bring people together. And then, of course, those people are going to tell other people. And that is really what fundamentally Sam was talking about with marketing, is that you can bring communities together, like-minded communities that are interested in building real-world products, building real value. That is when you really start to see the magic happen, right? EverGrow is very respected in the DeFi space, right? If you're bringing on other projects that are maybe they're a little smaller, right? Maybe, but they have great ideas, good team, good product development, and all that stuff. You bring them in, and that says something, right? That's that shared trust, right? That association. We're going to partner with these companies because we believe in them, and they believe in us. So imagine growing, with multiple. The trick then is how do you nurture those relationships and maintain those relationships? And these kind of things like we do with spaces and all that stuff, that's how we keep the energy going and working with each other and helping each other out. That's just one small aspect, of course, but working together, right? Crypto is very much about competition. I hate to say it. One project wants to be better than the next, have a higher price, more followers and all that stuff, right? Rather than competing, let's work together, and it's not all going to be like that. Not every crypto project wants to work with other projects. They want to be their own thing. They feel they're special and they want to do their own thing. That's fine. But there's other projects out there that can use and benefit from partnerships. And I think that's where the secret sauce is right there. That's where we can really, really benefit each other. I think so.
That's definitely the secret sauce. Like we talked about at the start of the spaces, and like it was said here before, this isolationism sort of idealism that runs in crypto is ultimately bad. Now, I'm not saying that competition is bad. Competition is good, and it's always good for everybody, including the consumer. But that's friendly competition. That's not really what you see in crypto, at least if you ask me. What you see in crypto is degenerate competition, is bringing your rival down, making fun of them, creating communities, putting them, in front of each other, and trying to bring each other down instead of working together. And that's where I think the problem begins. Because, like I said before, you do look at the normal banks and the normal financial system in the world, and you see the big banks all have each other's backs, and that's how they keep in power. And what are we doing? We are fighting each other for no reason. For literally no reason. And as long as the crypto community keeps doing that, that's going to work against our growth. That's going to work against adoption. And most importantly, that's going to work against the trust of people who are not yet into crypto.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. One thing I did want to mention that I got surprised with today, just before the space started, was LunaSky. Obviously the EverGrow NFT contest that they added 3 more prizes. I don't know if you guys saw that. So they're going to add, in addition to the 50,000 BUSD or the Tesla, adding a $2,000 prize, 3,000, and a $5,000 prize. So they're adding an extra 10K. That is pretty amazing.
It needed a little bit of a rehash, so that's good. That's very good.
Yeah, sweeten the pot a little bit. Absolutely. And it's nice, because I mean, I'm going to be very happy for whoever wins the prize, but knowing that there's three other prizes that potentially people can win, I think that's fantastic. So yeah, I thought that was worthy of mentioning. Let me see if there's any comments in here that I can mention. Libby N says, "Damn, I'm late again." Yeah, I know it's all good. At least Paul usually sleeps in for these things, so haven't seen him today, so maybe he's having a nice nap. And yeah, EverGrow put that in here. Thank you very much. Cody said, "Did you know EverGrow Man contest has been updated? Win 50K or Tesla Model 3 plus 3 runner-up prizes, 5K, 3K, and 2K." Let's see if there's anything else in here. That is pretty much it. Guys, it's open discussion. If you guys can bring up anything you want to talk about crypto or song?
Yeah, I wanted to add. I don't know if it's out of place now, but uh, yeah, you guys are right. And also, Sam is right about bringing communities together instead of bringing one. You bring 100 from here, 100 from there. That way, the crypto space grows. But I think, and I mentioned that to him, and he answered me something like something secret might happen about that. That it's also bringing those utility to the outside of crypto space. You know, by ticketing, and also in my case that I have to send money to my country, and I pay a fee. So imagine if Atlas Wallet or one of EverGrow's utility is to be able for us to send money to our families back to our countries and pay a lower fee. Still profitable for EverGrow, but less than the normal, traditional things we use now. That would bring that community that has nothing to do with crypto uh, to crypto without even knowing it. You know that I think that's another. I hope that's my dream. Like I mentioned to him, that would my dream because instead of using what I use now, I would use EverGrow utility, whether it's the Atlas Wallet or whatever, and I know that it's two benefits. It's the benefit of sending it and the benefit that I know that part of that revenue is gonna go back to me at some point, you know?
You think of the companies like Western Union or whatever that used to specialize in this sort of thing,
Yes,
right? How much money they made off of these transactions,
exactly.
sending money, you know what I mean? And you were making that corporation rich because of it. They didn't really care whether whether the fee was too much for you. Obviously, they made it so that it was sort of affordable, but you knew you were going to take a haircut by sending money across to your family. With crypto, the fees are cheap, and I know there's other competitors right now that you can send money directly. I don't know the legality of some of these internationally because they're worried about money laundering and all that stuff. But with crypto, I mean, if you could, like you said, Atlas Wallet, send money cheaply, and then they could off ramp it in their country. I mean, and you both benefit from it. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic.
exactly.
Chris, I don't know who you use for your money transfers, um, and I don't normally talk about other businesses on here, but I think it's appropriate for me to do so. I send money to some people in the Philippines and a few other countries, and I use Remitly.com. With Remitly, um, and it's a fairly new company that I got to know the actual owner in communication when he started. And it's kind of like the way I feel about EverGrow. It's an awesome company, and that's Remitly.com. For $4.99, I can send any amount of money up to $10,000 to another country, and they can pick it up in their currency.
Yeah, same thing with me, except that through my brother, since, well, when it's my mom, because she doesn't understand crypto, but now I'm using crypto with my brothers. My brother, it's cheaper and it's faster. It's right there. Yeah, thank you, Odo, for that. But yeah, but imagine if Atlas Wallet give us the opportunity to a lower fee and same speed or faster, transactions. The fact that they can receive it there, yeah.
That would be pretty fantastic if we can come up with a way to do that and then advertise it. That would be pretty amazing.
Hello.
Ivan, I just want to make sure I got that name right because I'm going to look it up for you. Did you say Ultima Wallet? Ivan, you still there?
Ultimo, I think. I
Ultima.
was looking it up.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out. Sorry, Hassan, were you saying something else?
No, yeah, quick. See, that is, I one day I used to watch a Shark Tank TV show, and Mark Cuban said, like the real entrepreneur, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Goes outside or look outside and see a problem and try to find a solution. That's how he's gonna make money. So this is a problem that we have outside of crypto that we need. Well, we have solution, but if someone comes up with a better solution, a better way of solving it, it would be great for EverGrow in this case. And things like anything that EverGrow can find uh, solutions to, it would be even more amazing.
Absolutely. Solving problems, right? And, Atlas Wallet, just from what I've seen, it solves many problems. LunaSky, addresses many of the shortcomings of the major NFT marketplaces, where they're focused on making their company rich rather than actually helping the artists, through royalties. So just things like that. The Lucro Games is more meant to be fun and enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to that. The idea of winning a prize or a pot of Lucro, that'd be pretty fantastic. The EverGrow staking, I'm really, really super bullish on that EverGrow staking because I have a feeling, and this is my personal opinion, I have a feeling that is going to reward you in ways you couldn't even really kind of imagine right now. So I don't know for sure, but hey, I'm just guessing. Ivan.
Roughly, what's on the staking part of EverGrow? What will the APY be?
To be determined because we don't know how much they're allocating. I'm guessing it's going to
Okay.
be Sam did when they made that deal with the whale. They have an allocated amount of I think 12 trillion for staking rewards, but that may not necessarily be all of it. That I don't really know.
Right on.
But yeah, but Sam did say he wanted the staking to be well, Paul has said it too. They want it to be profitable, a high
Right.
rewarding, and I have a feeling the rewards are going to be creative. So we'll have to see.
Right on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for asking the question. Nobody said anything about the past couple of days, but just a few days ago, EGC burned another 242 billion, and just this month we're looking at over, I wouldn't say over, about $500 billion EGC was burned this month. So that's great.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is absolutely little steps like this, right? And I don't know if you remember, Moon, back in the day when EverGrow was really hopping with volume, you looked at that daily burns and you were like, wow. I was like, look how much they're burning every single day because of volume. Those days are coming.
Because I wasn't around and when EverGrow first started, so you have to remember that I only joined about the second spike that AGC had around January. That's when I came on board, so I missed all of that, unfortunately. Hopefully we can get back to that. That would be good.
Yeah, I just went to the bottom of the SafeMoon Dave calculator, and then I think the first day that I'm seeing anything was like 10, 15, 21. You were regularly seeing 272 billion, 1 trillion, 175 billion, 312 billion, 250. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Almost every day there's these big burns. Fantastic. Can't wait to see more of that. Anybody else have anything else you want to talk about?
Yes, I do. Of course. I talk too much, I think. But I want to remind everybody about Denny's and my contest that we're running, and I hope that people are busy working on promos for LunaSky, because I'm really excited to see what people are going to do. And it's certainly nothing in comparison to the additions to the card from EGC and thousands, but still, you know, 3 prizes that end up totaling what 175 BUSD is not a tiny amount. But the fun of doing this and the future, what it's going to do, what the project may do, what I hope it does to help promote LunaSky is going to be wonderful. And I really appreciate any and everyone who is going to put in the work to do this to enter the contest.
Can you tell us about the contest? Because I read it very, very briefly, but if you could tell us about it.
Sure. What Denny and I imagined was the possibility of people doing a promo or promos for LunaSky that would encapsulate anything that they want to, a video with music, with sound, with text, promoting LunaSky and how awesome the marketplace is going to be, and submitting it, and then submitting these publicly on the same day and the same time to blast out on Twitter Space the name LunaSky with a promo that people can see. And then Danny and I and maybe others will be the judges to determine the first, second, and third place. But I think we'll all be winners from this. I hope. That's my view anyway, and my hope.
Thank you for teaming up with Denny on this. Really appreciate it. I mean, you know, this is the thing about these spaces, and you know, where everybody gets together, right? And they all have these ideas about promotion and helping each other out, and I think this is what makes just the EverGrow community is so great. You know, it isn't necessarily always about giveaways. It's about helping each other and you know supporting each other, and you know we have that in spades.
I wasn't going to mention this, but so the way I will be promoting LunaSky will be so here's the gist. So as you know, I have an NFT collection, card museum with the cards. You might have seen that. That's been on pause for a while now for several reasons. But the biggest reason is LunaSky is unfortunately only launching with 721 ERC NFT compatibility. So it will not have 1155, at least not right off the bat. However, they will be adding 1155 compatibility, which is what my NFTs are, later on after release. So I wasn't going to do anything, and I was going to keep everything on pause until they added that. However, I backtracked on that, and I am now working on a sort of new collection. It's not a new collection. It's still cards. It's still the same thing. You guys might have heard it before. It's called Crypto Mechas. So I am launching that as a standalone collection when LunaSky launches, 721 NFTs. I will later add the ability to convert those to 1155 later when they add that functionality, but no need to get into that right now. So I'm launching Crypto Mechas with the release of LunaSky, and I will be making a bunch of videos promoting that and promoting the fact that it is exclusive to LunaSky.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing there, Moon. Can't wait. Cannot wait. I love your collection. So yeah, looking forward to it. Go ahead, jump in, Don.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you again for the nice spaces. It was a really beautiful selection of topics, and I'm here since a while in crypto now. Since I'm here since 6 years, and a lot of the spaces are the whole crazy vibes where people just make anime noises and weird stuff. So I really appreciate the in-depth of the talk and the selection of the topics. And at the same time, I'm just low-key announcing that I'm going to bed because it's 1:30 a.m. here. So I just got to catch some rest. And I will try to chime in another time. It was a really good spaces. Hope to chat with you all soon.
Well, thank you so much for
thanks,
joining,
Donnie.
Don. Really
It's so
appreciate
awesome
it.
to finally hear from you too.
Yeah, hey, no problem. I'm just trying to keep quiet when the boss is talking, you know. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Just some background. I've known Don. How long have I known you?
Oh man, like I'm a year now or so, I
At
guess.
least, yeah. First time hearing your voice. Fantastic.
Yeah, hey man, we can always hop on a call. Like, would appreciate it.
Totally.
Thank you so much, Don. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for hanging in there, considering how late it is. Love to when you guys join and have a space of your own. Let me know, and I'd be happy to jump in on that.
For sure, that's a great idea. I will note that down right now.
Sounds good. Have a great night. Take care, sir. All right, Hersan, go ahead. Did you have a question?
For those of you who knows about NFT, can you please give me like a 30-second explanation? Because I like NFT. I know the name NFT, but making them, selling them, I even wonder if in LunaSky, I still don't know how it's gonna work. You see like Instagram that you have your profile picture and then you just post your picture and people can come and see your pictures and like them or comment or something like that. Is that how it's going to be? Like once I enter in LunaSky, I'll be able to create my portfolio, a profile, and then post my collection or individual NFT. Is that more or less how it's going to be?
So I think I'll defer to either Rocket or Moon on this one. But one thing that's going to be big with LunaSky is Lisa, and maybe Rocket, you can go into that.
Yeah, so I'd love to answer the question. If you could repeat just the finer points of it. I have a lot of wheels in the bus going on in my ear right now. If you could just retrace it for me.
Yeah, I was asking like if I'm gonna be able to create first my profile, like in any social media, and then similar to Instagram, that I can post one album or one picture at a time. If that,
So
yeah.
so yes and no. Yes and no. So it's less, you want to think of it less like a photo album or like an Instagram, and it's more like a pink sale in a sense, to where you're going to be able to create a collection and put that up for sale and for mint for others to purchase. So yeah, less of an Instagram and more of a marketplace. Think of it more heavily as a marketplace, like an eBay. Well, the way I was telling folks the other day is think of it like an eBay for digital collectibles. That's an easy way to think about it.
You know, I never thought about this, but listening to his question,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
I actually see a future for LunaSky where what he just described
Sure.
could actually be a thing.
Sure.
And if we're going to compare that to every other NFT marketplace, there is nothing like that. Zero. Nada.
Nope. It's a cool idea.
That is
I
a
just want to
very
make sure the
cool idea.
expectation for him is, you have the right expectations to start. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. So, and
I mean, imagine a year and a half, 2 years from now, we could be there. I'm just saying.
Sure. And there's little bits and elements and things that we want to do with LunaSky that, I mean, would complement something like that. It's definitely a conversation I have to have with Cody on, if that's down the road, a path that we could take for it. And a lot of it's going to come down to how it's used. Because if you think about it, once we launched LunaSky, kind of like how the beta was launched and we saw how folks were using the beta, folks are going to use LunaSky the way they're going to use LunaSky. And I think what we'll need to do is cater to that. And so if that trends in that direction, phenomenal, right? That'd be really cool. But I really want to make sure that, LunaSky isn't just what Rocket wants it to be. It should be what the community that's using it day in, day out wants it to be. That's really the goal.
You know what's the funny part of it is what he described and what you described is almost like merging Crater into LunaSky, or a version of Crater.
How dare you say that word in my presence?
But it's true,
I
though.
was tiptoeing around that so gracefully. How dare you, Moon?
Well, and we could have a dedicated band for that.
Yeah.
Core.
Oh lordy. Oh no. No, but yeah, Moon, you're absolutely right, and it's a neat concept and idea. There's so much that would have to go into that, though. It's we would really need to think and hash that out
Oh yeah, that's
before
not going
that
to
could
happen
even be.
overnight.
Yeah, it's a
But
cool idea. It's a really cool idea. But yeah,
I heard something else in his question. Um, maybe, or maybe I didn't hear it, but I thought I heard it. And that was, what's the difference in an NFT and a JPEG or a PNG file, an image file? You know, on Instagram, it's just image files, but an NFT is a completely different animal. Um,
exactly.
and I
Yep,
see
yep.
I see Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Pinterest and all the rest is a way to promote the sale of your NFTs.
Exactly. And so you would need, right, to if you're going down that path, you'd have to do it better than the way it's being done already for it to be worthwhile. And so that's why just a lot of thought would have to go into that if that's something we wanted to pursue. But
yeah, but the benefits are
sure. Oh,
astounding
sure.
because there is no competition to something like that. Absolutely zero. It would either be LunaSky or no one else. So it may be worth looking into.
Oh, believe me, like there's conversations that we have, but yeah, right now so much energy is just focused on what Luna Sky will be at launch, and then assessing how Luna Sky is used and where it goes from there. Because
Yeah,
I
one
have
step
plans,
at a
I have
time.
things on my wish list, and that's another cool thing I'm probably going to pop in there for a little more research. It's a cool idea. It's a cool idea.
Hassan, I was gonna say, like, an NFT on Luna Sky and the very same image that you would see on Instagram, on the surface, they appear indistinguishable, right? But it's how an NFT is made on the blockchain that differentiates the images. And I was going to leave that for Rocket or Moon to maybe explain that too.
Yeah, the NFT, at least for me, right? Because this becomes a philosophical debate. The NFT for me is less about the image itself and more about the creator of the image, in my opinion, right? Because you're creating a proof of authenticity, a chain of custody of this particular work, um, and you are proving that you supported that creator by holding that NFT. Like that to me is huge, at least on the art side of things. Obviously, from utility, like we heard from ChainArQ today, there's a lot of fun ways to use them. But from an art standpoint, it's less about the art itself because yeah, the JPEG's a JPEG. Anyone can write click save a JPEG, but what you can't right click save is that blockchain record, right? Like that belongs to one person, the person holding it. That's it.
Precisely. So basically, when we buy an NFT is sort of like the NFT is the cover of a book. What you're actually buying isn't the cover; it's what's inside.
It's an
In the world of
autographed
NFT,
cover. It's an autographed cover.
exactly. And one of the things that I've noticed has been happening as of late in the world of NFTs is some artists and some projects actually sell the NFTs, whether it's a JPEG, a video, music, doesn't matter, but they sell their NFTs with personal and commercial use rights. So, meaning you literally own that picture that you bought, not just the NFT, but you actually own the personal and commercial use rights for that picture. So you can do whatever you want. You can print
I'm
T-shirts
glad
with
you
it.
brought that up.
There you go.
So that's actually just like philosophically for me, that's really important. So like I don't know, I've said this several times, but anything I create, like if I put it on the blockchain and you buy an NFT that I've made, you have commercial rights over that. Like it's yours. So like I see folks that have profile pictures for some of the things I made, like that's yours. You can do whatever you want with that.
Same
And
exact thing with mine. And that's a
awesome.
big difference
Yeah.
between you coming here and pressing my NFT and right click saving it. You could do that. But if you
Sure.
try to sell a T-shirt of it, coming after your butt because it's not yours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
And it's
there
like
we go.
Bandroids are trying to do, right? With the when you collect
Exactly.
the full set, right? Potentially you're going to be able to get the licensing to that piece of music which is just nuts. And they're talking about how they can help you monetize that too. So they're going to be supporting folks that actually complete sets and how to monetize their license that they now own. Yeah, there's just so much that can be done. It's
And
such neat
Snoop
technology.
Dogg was the first artist, I believe, to put in his songs onto a blockchain and make an NFT that somebody else could buy and own his music.
Nice.
And people really don't put enough importance on that, because there is a mountain of difference between saving something and not having the rights to it, and buying something and having the rights to use it the way you want it. Galaxies of difference.
Sure. And then, obviously then there are opportunities for access to the creator, right? Because now, especially with the new LunaSky, where you're going to own your own NFT contracts, you can then token gate experiences. You can token gate a Discord. I mean, you can make that NFT a key to your community, your club. It's yours.
Go ahead, Hersan. Did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just want to say that I asked the question from the point of view of a professional photography. I do professional photography, and in my mind, that's the way, like, because I haven't seen Luna Sky yet, so that's why I was asking. Because in my mind, that's how I see the display, like easy to browse,
Sure.
to go through.
Yeah. So, for example, with the way that it sounds like you're going to be wanting to use it, what you'd want to do is you'll create your own and deploy your own NFT contract, and obviously it's just going to be, push button, pretty simple to do. Then you'll be able to upload all the images that you want to be part of that collection, and then you can mint them to your own wallet so you own them. And so from there, in the collection page, it's going to display all of the items that have been minted, and so that will be essentially your gallery. And folks, if you list something for sale for auction, folks will be able to make those purchases right then there.
So I hope that helps a little bit. I mean, NFTs, we can spend an entire space just talking about NFTs.
Oh,
There's
sure.
so much to know about them. I think people get caught up in the visual aspect of like somehow like they wanted to have a hologram on it to know that it's authentic and that's the original. It doesn't necessarily work that way on the visual, on the surface of it. How would you differentiate one NFT, the one that's the authentic one, versus the one that was minted to the blockchain or attempted to be minted to the blockchain later on? How would you know?
Well, it would have to go back to the creator, right? So you would find the creator's wallet, and I mean that's it. Just follow the chain of custody. You can't, really fake that. So if I claim I have a EverGrow Husky card, right, from Moon, and it turns out that I just uploaded the video file myself and minted it. I mean, anyone doing 5 minutes of research will be able to tell that I'm a fraud, and would just pay me no mind.
Blockchain don't lie.
No, don't lie.
Well, I hope that helps a little bit. Even for me, I mean, like I've kind of been into NFTs a little bit, but I just don't have that level of knowledge. It's like I said, we can spend an entire space just talking about NFTs. It's pretty fascinating.
As a matter of
The
fact, soon we will.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a thing.
Exactly.
Oh, so we are going to have a spaces full in the sky?
Oh, of course, yeah, we're going to have space for LunaSky, absolutely.
Nice.
And a lot of it is going to be especially featuring collections that are coming on, and yeah, absolutely. How regular it's going to be will depend, right? So we'll have to see, whether it's myself, Cody, who's going to be hosting it, and working out logistics there because life is crazy. But yeah, we definitely want to have at least a somewhat regular space going on, because there's going to be, like you've seen already, right? We have two collections that have, or projects even in this case, that have come on to Steve's space to just share what they're working on and why they're coming to LunaSky. That's going to be happening all the time, right? If I do my job right, that should be happening pretty often. So, yeah, something to look forward to.
And I'm going to guess that there's going to be some of Steve's spaces that are exclusively devoted to NFTs.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not expertly knowledgeable about NFTs, whereas Cody and Rocket have vast knowledge about it. I probably wouldn't be the best person. I mean, I'd be more than happy to have a space, on Luna Sky, but I don't have that deep level of knowledge, so I feel like I would be out of my element a little bit.
Oh, I was talking about your space, not being the same space as what Rocket
Oh, I
was
get you.
talking about.
Gotcha, yes. Thank you. I'll go crypto. Sorry, I kept you waiting there for a little bit. Go ahead.
Oh no, this is great stuff. I mean, I live on this stuff, honestly. So thank you guys for sharing all your knowledge, because I myself am also not an NFT expert by any means. The marketplace, I'm super excited about it though, and I want to dabble around in it too, and I'll definitely be hitting you guys up for advice, all of you guys. But I did want to ask. So CWP retweeted something out a few hours back. Maybe it was right when the space started, but it was something like that. And it was a retweet of somebody else's tweet that I don't remember who it was, but it was talking about how LunaSky is going to be the marketplace because of this, that, and the other, and so forth. And everyone's doing such a good job about putting that out there. Like, this is going to be the game changer of NFT marketplaces. So my question is, I agree with that, and I have 100% faith in the project, the team, all of you guys, Sam, all of that. And but I was in a seed call, a seed investors call on another project that is a great project, but I mean, there is no project as transparent and trustworthy like EverGrow. But this is a great project also. They were tackling a problem. They have a product that they spent the bear market building that is not an NFT marketplace, but more of an atomic swap, a universal chain swap kind of a thing, plus a couple of other things. But they are running into the problem where other projects have rushed out versions of this already. And not that anyone is better than another, and there are other projects anyway, so I don't want to get sidetracked, but they're very concerned about how to get focus on theirs when the other people are doing what they're doing. And everyone's going to make claims that we have the next best thing, we have the best thing, but anyone that spends 5 minutes looking at EverGrow can obviously see what's really going on here, which is fantastic. But how do you get that 5 minutes? So I guess my question, as long as this was drug out, sorry, but is, do we have a game plan? And I know we're stacked in the marketing department as far as our funding. I know we got plenty of money and all of that. Do we have a specific angle we're working to put LunaSky in front of people so that we don't get lost in this field? I mean, and it's like a never-ending field of NFT marketplaces. No one's going to do what we can do, and I understand that. But I just, being on that call made me think, geez, there's a lot of marketplaces coming up too. What are our plans to stand out? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so good question, and absolutely yes. So without giving too much away, the moment that we, I guess, made public that we were, really heavily working on LunaSky, I immersed myself completely, as much as possible, in Web3. I have met a lot of amazing people. I've made wonderful connections. You can't come into the NFT space without having done that work. You won't be taken seriously. That's just the reality of it. If you don't know the right people, if you're not properly connected, no one's going to take you seriously. Your marketplace goes nowhere. I've done the legwork. That's all I'll say.
Rocket, if there are people on this space that don't understand, can you give a quick definition of Web3?
Sure. It's actually a harder question to answer because it's not super concrete, but at least the vaguest and most nutshell version of it at least my version of it, is the moment you start involving blockchain interaction with a website, right? So, Web 1 would have been you go to the website, view the information that's on there. Web 2 is where you can now interact with the website, and the website will change based on your inputs. Web 3 being adding that blockchain element to it. Now, the way it's used. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, do you have a better definition? Because I'll take that if you have a better definition.
No. I was just going to add that not just the blockchain element being added, but most importantly, in my view, the decentralization added.
Yes.
So between you and whoever you're doing business with, it's between you two and you two only. And there's no intermediaries like there always is in Web 1 and Web 2.
Absolutely. But the way that Web3 is used more colloquially here is it's the JPEG NFT communities, right? So the PFP communities. That's really what people think of when they say Web3 that are actually part of these communities. They don't even really, for the most part, necessarily mean anything specific to any website or DApp. It's just that community of folks that participate in NFTs on the blockchain, right? So there's different definitions for it depending on what level you're at, and what level you're really dissecting it from. But yeah.
An aspect about it that I liked was the idea of ownership of your data, ownership of your creations. We're on a public space with Twitter, and we don't own any of the content that we're putting out. But that through Web3, we will own it and have control over it.
Yep. Absolutely.
On the go, did you catch the AMA on Sunday?
What was that last part?
Did you catch the AMA that the team had on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, that was actually really great.
So a lot of the clues of kind of what direction LunaSky is going to be taking in order to build a community was right there. I mean, it's kind of easy to kind of skim over, but I think the details were I listened to it a couple times now, and I think I really I believe I have a pretty firm grasp on how they intend to build a truly unique marketplace, and that is what's going to differentiate us from other communities by far.
Awesome. I'll be fine-tooth combing the hell out of that thing now.
Yeah, I covered it a little bit into the space, so I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive, but yeah, I think like I said, working with communities, bringing communities in, nurturing communities, and that is our community is everything about EverGrow. And go ahead, Rocket.
No, you just nailed it. That's the keyword, community.
And going forward, LunaSky is going to release, right? And it will be similar to other marketplaces. There's no denying that. It will have exclusive features such as the live support, which is something that simply does not exist on any other marketplace I've ever seen. So that will be groundbreaking. But most importantly, that's not the only thing. So to answer on the go, and what he was talking about, what's going to separate LunaSky as being the place to go and the better marketplace to do business with going forward, I think in my view is the team has an idea of working on LunaSky even after release and adding more features. And as we go forward, they'll continue to add feature after feature after feature. Eventually, we are going to reach a point where we are better than everybody else. And we do have features nobody else has. And that will be the selling point for LunaSky by far.
Yep, 100%. That's the big thing, is that we are funded, right? We can make all the ideas that we have reality in terms of LunaSky, and all the ideas that we have yet to come up with that the community is going to raise, right, using it. We can make those things happen. That's really exciting.
You know,
Yeah, that's
part of
awesome.
the
Thanks for answering that, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then part of it too is what you guys talked about, Rocket and Cody talked about on the AMA, where, you know, we were talking about OpenSea and Blur. Their focus is purely volume, right? How do you drive maximum volume for NFTs, right? And a lot of times the creator suffers at that because now you're basically reducing that floor price and you're eliminating royalties, right? Volume is important to LunaSky. Make no mistake. Volume is where, you know, we make the fees and all that stuff. But more importantly, we're about community. We're about supporting and nurturing creators and about building those relationships. That's our primary focus. The volume is the gravy. The community is what we're here for. We're, like Cody said, we're a project. LunaSky is built by the community for the community. That's it. That's all you need to know right there. So,
And yeah,
Rasan?
like Rocket said, I mean, you can community, right? And if all, of course, volume is important and will be important for LunaSky. Make no mistake, obviously. However, when volume is your only concern, at some point going forward, like you see with OpenSea, like you see with Blur, like you even see with Rarible, at some point you start making decisions as a company that are anti-consumer. At some point you start doing that. Why? Because that's what brings you the most profit and the most volume. In the short term, you gain from that, but in the long term, you lose. And that's where LunaSky and EverGrow are taking the opposite approach. And I think that will really repay in time.
So it couldn't set it any better. That's exactly. It's a race to the bottom because they're competing against each other, right, to try and maintain market share, but at the expense of the creator. The very thing that made them multi-billionaires is the thing they're
Yeah.
sacrificing. So they've forgotten what brought them there, and maybe their reasons weren't so, you know, maybe they didn't have this grand vision to build this, you know, marketplace in order to support creators. Maybe they did at the beginning. Who knows? But ultimately, when you're a company that's funded by what they call vulture capitalists, you know, it's in the interest to make them as much money as possible. And we're starting to see kind of the seeds of that. So I'm sorry to keep you
The
waiting.
cracks starting to form, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hersan, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, about the question on the go asked how to keep relevant if people around you are gonna be copying. Do you think it's a great idea for LunaSky and the whole ecosystem instead of announcing, not that they do, but dropping bomb? You know, once these two utility comes out, Atlas Wallet and LunaSky, instead of saying, well, we're working on this, because the other projects around you will be hearing and copying it, right? Instead of that, do you think it will be a great idea just dropping the bomb here? This new utility, it will solve this, or it will improve this? That's first question. And the other thing is about the NFT. I was looking for, because I follow Michael Saylor, and he posts this beautiful, I don't know if it's image or NFT about Bitcoin. Beautiful, beautiful. And I was looking for something like that for EverGrow, like these beautiful images about EverGrow itself, not creators, just EverGrow. Yeah, so the first question, do you think would be a great idea, or I want to learn, you know, if it's better or not, like dropping the bomb.
I don't know, Cody, what do you think? Or sorry, Rocket, what do you think? I don't know if you can talk, Rocket, about
Hey,
just.
sorry, I
Well,
can't talk
Yeah.
just yet. Yeah, putting kids down.
No, no worries.
Here's the thing, Gerson. It would be marketing wise, in my view, the most effective way to have an impact would definitely be what you said, just dropping it out of nowhere. I think that's not even up for the session. That would have the best impact. The problem with that is that doesn't give time for creators to prepare. And you can drop it all of a sudden, but if you're going to drop something that has little to no NFTs because nobody had time to prepare, because no one knew it was coming, that's going to flop. So I think ultimately that's the reason why they can't take that approach, because at the end of the day, it is a new marketplace, it is a new thing, and a lot of new people getting into it, a lot of new partners getting into it, and they do need a little bit, at least a couple days to prepare.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm not so sure that the large players in the NFT space, marketplaces such as OpenSea, Blur, I don't even know if we're honestly on their radar, because we don't have a kind of a functional product that's open to the public, right? So they can't see us, right? But also they don't have any quantifiable data to tell them that we're something that is a real thing. Here we have this much market share. This is how many NFTs have been bought and sold, or how many creators, or what our stats are, right? So right now we're just kind of a concept, and I don't know if we're even on any of those radars, but it doesn't really matter because ultimately it's not our focus, right? Maybe in the back of somebody's minds would be like, well, we'd like to be number one, right? It's I'd rather be the most successful marketplace based on customer satisfaction, based on being able to help people, being able to get their NFTs out to the people who want to buy them, by rewarding creators through royalties and keeping people coming back. That's to me a sign of success, not by, oh well, we made $100 million this last quarter. Sure, it'd be nice because that would be pretty awesome for buyback and burn of EverGrow. But I think right now we should focus on keeping our content creators satisfied, be able to deliver on a product that they can use and like, make it functionally superior to really anything that's out there, and have the support to back it up. And I think we're going to be able to do all those things. That's just my feeling on it.
We are, Steve. You're right about that. And when you asked your question, do the big boys know we exist? Right? Is OpenSea, Rarible, and Blur knowing do they know, or are we even on their radar that LunaSky is going to be a thing? I have the answer to that. The answer is no. We're not even a back thought in the back of their head. But that's our advantage. That's what we have to take advantage from. Is we want it to stay that way, and we want it to stay that way until we develop and evolve LunaSky to a point where it's comparable to their platforms, if not better. And then they will notice this. But by that time, it will be too late. That's exactly what we want and what we need to take advantage of.
Gerson, if I understood your question, the other part of it about Michael Saylor's image, which I think I saw the same as you did because I saw one that was awesome. And that is the whole point of what Denny and I are doing with our contest, is to develop images for our people, to develop images like that that can be used to help promote LunaSky.
Exactly, yeah, because I love those. I copied them and posted them later. Yeah, and I was looking for something like that for EverGrow, and I didn't see them. Yeah.
Please create it for us, for all of us.
Well, EverGrow Tron will be the first crypto mecha I'll be releasing, so it's a robot about EverGrow. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. I hope that kind of helped a little bit. I mean, like I said, NFTs are super kind of like simple, but yet super complicated too, right? It's kind of easy to get into the real um, into the thick of it and like understanding how it works. I like to think of it like NFTs as, think of it like a contract, right? Imagine like a title to a house. You are the one that owns that title. If you own the house, imagine you were to mint that, right? And you had that contract. It is your NFT, therefore your contract, and it's provable and verifiable. If somebody else tried to take your title to your house and mint it, it would be obviously found out. You could do a quick little investigation. You find out you're not the true owner of that title, and therefore not the true owner of that house. And the thing is that happens all the time. People sell people's houses out from underneath them, and they have no idea through fraud. this is a huge solution to a very, very big problem where, even title washing in cars in the US is huge, where people will basically make fraudulent titles for cars and that have been totaled and they've been repaired just enough to be able to sell again. And people are buying vehicles they think that are safe and not been in collisions and yeah, so when it's really not.
They
And
repair
you
the
just
outside. Yeah.
you just hit, Steve, on a huge, huge new market for NFTs that is being developed in real estate, titles to vehicles, titles to other properties, to avoid that, and also to avoid the hassle if you're trying to sell your home of trying to get a title search done. This eliminates the whole need for title searches.
There's even a thing in California where you have to get your vehicle smogged. So every so many years, when your vehicle's over a certain age, you have to prove that it doesn't emit a certain degree of pollution, right? And so you bring it to a smog shop, and there are hundreds of smog shops that are not legit. If you worked with the DMV on legit titles, right? Legit smog shops, and they would mint your smog title, like on there, and then it couldn't be fabricated, right? And you could literally prove that, hey, this vehicle has the correct emissions and is safe to drive and doesn't pollute more than it's supposed to. Just little things like that. The potential for NFTs is huge.
Right, it's the same concept as we discussed. I mean, you were talking about Steve houses and real estate, right? And this ties back to the idea that people that are against, anti NFT that say, "Oh, I can just, right click your NFT ape and save it, and there we go. Now I own it." And when it couldn't be further from the truth. Sure, you copy the image, but that doesn't mean you own anything. That's akin to you own a house, right? I go up to your house on the outside and I take pictures of all the angles of your house. Therefore, I own your house. That doesn't make any sense. So it's the exact same thing with NFTs. It's that ownership that is provable that makes the difference.
Exactly. Very well said. Hope that helps, Harsan. I mean, it's a big topic, right? We can go on for a long time on that. Have you ever considered, since you're a photographer, have you ever considered turning your digital photos into NFTs?
Yes, I cannot wait for that because I don't know how to mint. So I'm waiting for LunaSky to start minting some of my photographs.
So, from what I understand, there's going to be pretty comprehensive guides on how to help you through the process. Rocket worked pretty hard to bake a kind of an assistant, a virtual assistant called Lisa, and you'll be able to type in there and basically say, how do I do this, or what is this, and you can use these keywords, and it will navigate you through the system so that it'll educate you and it'll also show you how to do things. And then if none of that works and you can't figure it out, you have live support. People like Rocket and Cody and others will be there to help you live to mint. So pretty remarkable.
As well as help from this community.
Exactly, 100%. Out of curiosity, what kind of photos do you like to take? Is it people, places, combination, or?
No, I like to take all type of landscape, portrait, everything. But
Just
mostly I like to create. Like I can spend hours framing a scenario for a picture. I'm not that photographer. Oh, let me take a picture here, bang. And I like to create. One day I created one of my sons when he was like, I don't know, 2, 3, with the hose on the like rain, fake rain, but it looks real because the water is real, the sun was out. It looks really, really good. Well, that's what people say. So that's the type of photography that I like, to do. I like to create, and also I like my camera all manual because I like to have control of every detail on the picture.
and just imagine too, like let's just say that you sold your photos, right? You could give the option for people to buy the NFT as well. Or maybe your photo or something may come with the NFT as a perk, and it will be kind of basically forever, right? It's always on the blockchain. So that could a lot of people do things like that, and like again, car titles, that may be the future where eventually, when you buy a car, not only do you get the piece of paper, but you get proof of ownership immediately through the blockchain. So yeah, I think you're
I
gonna
had quite a few people reach out to me over the last few weeks as LunaSky is getting closer. People who want to get into NFTs with the release of LunaSky and just asking for advice. And the one thing I will say is, if you are a photographer, you make videos, you draw, you anything that's pretty much a visual, and even music can also be an NFT. Any of that, if you created it, if you're the owner of it, go on the blockchain and mint it. The only thing you have to be careful of is stuff you don't own, stuff you don't make. So I've had people ask me questions if they could go on Google, for instance, Google Images and take a picture, right, and mint that. Well, that's where you have to be careful because you do not own the commercial rights to those pictures. Selling an NFT of that picture you took from Google is considered a commercial use and you'd get in trouble. So anything that you own or you created or you have the commercial rights to, go ahead and mint it.
Yes, I just looked at your Facebook profile, and I'm wondering, do you have your photos online? I'm an old photographer, retired, long retired. I would love to see your work.
Well, two things. First, to something that Moon Android, yeah, Android said. Yes, I was asking because I used to I used to watch these cartoons from the past, and I don't know how to create those images. But anyway, I'm gonna have to use my own photography. And for CWP, well, I have two Facebook profiles. My normal one, my personal one, and then a fan page. Uh, I used to have my work there, but I didn't find that people put so much appreciation as I put as much effort. So I took all my work away. Then I did what I tried to do is posting the video of how I made of, let's say I go to do a photo shoot, and as the video goes along, I post those pictures at the same time. That I have like one or two in my fan page, but with the with Luna Sky with NFT, I wouldn't care because it's there if people like it. And I think the NFT community has more appreciation than normal people for JPEG. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're definitely right. They definitely do. It's the whole NFT concept since the very inception has brought about this sort of renaissance of appreciation for artwork, appreciation forming communities around artwork, and it's gonna or photography or music, whatever like Androids are doing, but whatever it may be, has brought this appreciation back. Which honestly has been missing for decades at this point. So we really needed something like this. But as we go forward and NFTs evolve, we're going to see more use cases. We're going to see more utility. We're going to see more and more reasons to use NFTs than to not use them.
I think it's really limited by your imagination, right? There's so much opportunities for NFTs. We just kind of really kind of have to anything that you need to prove is authentically yours, the blockchain can potentially solve a problem with it through NFTs. So how you do that, that's the trick, right? Maybe like we talk about ticketing a lot, right? Because ticketing is kind of such a how much money is made from scalpers with tickets. If you could kind of eliminate that potentially through NFTs, you can keep the price down. I mean, I'm sure scalpers would not like that so much, but you can keep the price down. Maybe the black market can kind of go away on that sort of thing. And then the winners of that are the artists because they don't see the revenue. They don't necessarily see more revenue when their tickets are being sold in the black market. But it gives you a better chance, potentially, right, of ownership of a ticket. And that is kind of one of those things you can hold on to indefinitely. Because I mean, maybe you've been to a concert in the past 5, 10 years ago, whatever. Maybe you might lose those tickets. Maybe there might be a fire. Maybe they get destroyed. And when they're on the blockchain, I mean, it's there. You have them, right? So I don't know. Like I said, there's so many options in terms of NFTs.
Gerson, I wanted to add something else for you to consider. Maybe this is a little bit too soon, but think about uh, your photographs as NFTs and the market for serigraphs or lithographs. And an artist can create a single image and sell that image, or you can create an edition. The same thing is true on the NFTs. You can take one image and sell that single image, or you can mint 10 copies or 100 copies, depending upon what you think the market might and how much you want to share that image with people. Just something for you to consider as you're learning.
Right on. Well, I hope it helped anyway. Lots of good info on this one. Thank you, Moon, and I really, really appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this space here pretty quick. But first, I want to give a shout out to the people who are hanging in there to the very end. Hersan Axifan, thank you so much. Michael Garber, T Bucks, In Sam We Trust, Miguel Crypto, I Savior. Hope you're doing well, and hope those spaces are going really well for you too. And we got Will in here, Gratians G00. Let me scroll down. Of course, we got Jack Oates and CJ Lockwood. Couple new faces, MA91, Taximan. Who else? We got Nido and PUSSX. And what else? We got Safe Moon DG, Rick G, Andy with Vanguard Heating. How you doing, Andy? Dan Hamil, who's also a physician. If we ever needed a physician, he's here. Thank you for being here, Hamil. And Deji and Miles Williams. Who else we got? Anderson and Kit Gibbs. A lot of new people here. Thanks for being here. Michael Chavez and Dre. And I don't even know how to pronounce your name. My apologies. HGUAGIRO. And what else we got? Joshua, Miko, and Adam. Thank you guys for being here so much. I really, really appreciate it. Special thanks to Shak with ChainArQ for being here today, and CKtheGhost and Don. And of course, Rocket, thank you so much for being here today in your busy schedule. Moon Android, CWP, Hersan for the great, great questions. Thank you so much. And I know he's already taken off by now, but many others that have dropped in the space to ask questions. Thank you guys for sharing your Saturday with me, and we'll do this again next weekend, same time, same place. Have a great day, guys. Take care, and bye for now.